You bag of dicks.
Okay. We're going live in 3, 2, 1. Bam, we're back for another podcast. As you can definitely tell that we got a full house here tonight. So we'll just go down the list. Who's checking in with us tonight? We got Hunter Dickson.
How's it going?
Wifey here, Brittany. Fucking crazy hands, Matthew. Cooter on the end, and Kolt here next to me, the late guy to check in. So we obviously, new backdrop, new fucking desk. Can y'all fucking hear that?
Sounds like a helicopter. There it goes. It went away.
It's gone.
Keep going.
Could y'all hear it too?
Technical difficulties.
Well, I know me and him are on the same link, so I didn't know if that was us
Okay,
or them.
so as you can tell, a new backdrop. We're fucking working on the studio all the time. New desk, so we can fit everybody in. So Cooter, you never checked in with us before. What's been going on down there?
Just too much work, man. You can get away on those busy Saturdays, so come out and have some fun with you guys. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's not from a lack of trying you not coming on. I think I've messaged you like the last 5 weekends in a row.
5 weekends. Well, it's every other weekend because I'm always on. So
yeah, so this
we gotta
is
get our schedule back together.
well. This is going to be the actual second edition so far because last week was pretty good. We did a couple practice runs. They're all trash. So this is the official second one. So you're in the early stages of it.
Good. Glad to
The
be
very
here.
first one was, quote, trash.
Yeah, tossed away. So Colt, what the fuck you been up to?
Living life.
Living life?
Living life.
How's the cattle company?
It's going good. How the calf get et?
By who?
By, we gotta cancel. We gotta cancel this guy out because when he starts laughing, you gotta get away from the microphone.
Get away from the microphone when he laughs.
He's got an infectious laugh. But no, I had a couple calves get et by some coyotes and a few Mexican buzzards.
We gotta get that fucking wall built around the cattle company.
Yeah, there ain't no
Have
doubt.
to be Mexican.
Yeah.
It's gotta happen.
If
No,
we
they
get
are
some
Mexican buzzards
That's
because they have a
thing.
little. They've got like a foot worth of white tip. I say that's not really. A
Well,
tip,
they don't
it's
have
a
the
foot
white
long.
tip. They've got half a white wing.
A half a white wing underneath the bottom of them, and they will when the mother's giving birth to the calf, the mama cow's giving birth. They will come in and after the calf's born, they'll peck the fucking eyeballs out.
That's what they go for.
I had the calf that I found one jawbone and one little bitty femur.
That is awful.
Damn.
And that was it. And a bunch of bird shit. And no hide. No, I'm serious, really. I mean, it's no bullshit. I mean, that's potentially $800-900 for me
Good.
when I come to sell them in August. But it was about a 10-foot circle where the mama had fought off whatever she could fight off. There was a bald spot where the baby was. And there was nothing, no hide, no hair, no nothing.
Maybe you should be a better protector.
I can't be there.
Well, what
every
they
day, all
do,
day.
what they, I
Gotta
mean,
have
I've got
your
traps
thought.
set. I've got traps set for coyotes, but you have to apply for a permit, and you have to get the license and everything else to actually catch buzzards.
That's crazy.
What
You have
kind
to.
of fucking bullshit
You
is
could-
that?
you
You
could-
can't
Because
kill
they
a
cleaned up the-
goddamn bird.
Well, they clean up the
And
roadways.
you gotta fucking
They
pay
eat
the
dead
government
shit off
to
the road.
fucking
They
shoot a
keep
bird
roadway
on their own
shit.
property.
You should, and I can,
That's stupid.
as long as nobody knows about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just shoot
But
'em.
you don't do that because
Well,
that would be illegal.
I would never do that because
what
that
you don't do
illegal.
is talk about it on a
You
podcast.
just told everyone.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying, but I
Definitely
don't
say
shoot
things
them.
that-
If I could, you
Dollar balls
you
to
tell me
make it
one
come
person.
back.
No, really, you tell me one person in this room that can roll up. I've got a 9mm and a 22-250.
And you
in my
can't shoot
pickup.
with fuck.
No, listen. You take that 22-250 and you let a bird fly at you for just say
Self-defense.
just say half a second at 150 to 500 yards. You can't hit that bird with that scope.
You can hit it when it
There's no
lands
way.
on the ground and
Let him
eats your
stop.
They
calf.
do not land.
When they
When it's
eat a
eaten,
cow,
How'd this
When
motherfucker
it's
eat your
eating your
cow
calf.
if he never touched
Well,
the
yes,
Have a
yes.
bait
If
cow.
I've seen it, if I've seen it going on, yes, I would have shot it. But I've sat there and I've plotted these motherfuckers, and I've looked at them, and I've tried to shoot them. You cannot hit them.
The vulture must
They know
be
they're being
You
watched.
cannot hit
The
them.
vulture is the enemy.
I'm telling you, you cannot hit them.
Oh, I bet probably not.
So what?
Not with no fucking
what they
rifle.
actually do
Exactly. You said with a shotgun,
Well, yeah.
they do not come close enough.
is what they actually do in the coyotes too is just wear the calf down until it can't move anymore, and then the mother just will say,
Well,
"All right."
Mexican
All right,
buzzard.
so we fill a
Mexican
dead
buzzard
calf
will
up with
do it.
tannerite.
The light
If
it.
you-
God damn, boy.
How many fucking buzzards can we kill at once?
If you will buy a dead calf, we can find out. Because I'm not going to supply unless one of mine dies. I have to call you really early. But I'm saying is that it's really that's a really big deal, really,
Yeah.
and not just mine because I've
You
got a
would
small
think-
operation, but everybody that has cattle,
What's the name
That's
of this
a big deal.
operation of yours?
Thompson Cattle Company.
Oh, okay.
Operation.
That's a charge.
What I'm saying, but really, it's a big deal. Really, is either capturing, relocating, or killing Mexican buzzards.
You would think that if they're being harmful to your property or your livestock, you could just take them anyway because you can shoot.
Well, you would think
fucking-
so, but that's not the case
Not the
because
They're flying at you.
they clean.
Self-defense.
No, I'm saying but they clean up so much of the roadways.
Sounds like oh, there.
I
it
can't
went.
hear shit.
All right,
Oh,
so
there
that's
you go.
enough about fucking Thompson Cattle Company. Dick, what the fuck? What the fuck you been up to?
Just building.
No
this
more
house,
sponsors.
you know?
Building houses.
Building houses.
We have to
Putting
pull chairs.
putting some what'd you call them, Cooter?
Dormers.
Dormers. Didn't
Yeah.
even know that was a thing.
What are
Putting
dormers?
some,
It's the
dog
real deal.
houses.
Those dog houses,
That's
man.
those fucking fake windows that people have on the front of their house, and it looks like their house is 2-story, but it's fucking not.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's like
It's like a window to your
It's
attic.
like I have $3,000 to waste.
Does
There you
the,
go. Put
uh,
a fake fucking window on the roof?
Is there an attic?
Yeah, it's like $2,500 for each one.
Is there an attic in the
That's
house?
stupid.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid.
Why
There
is
is
it
an attic in the
2-story
house.
then?
There's fucking 3,500 square foot of attic in this
Well, you
house.
could frame up
There's a
another,
house.
another room.
There's a house
Two-story.
worth of attic. They could have
I
had
would've made it-
the second floor. They have a 29.5-foot peak on a 1-story house on an 8th grade roof. If that tells you anything.
It don't make sense.
It doesn't make
People
any
do such
fucking
a
sense.
such a steep roof and not put even like a fucking media room.
Nothing.
Ooh,
Or
that'd
something.
be
There's
like
this
my,
whole
that'd be like my red
something.
room.
There's this whole entire
sex
studio
room.
of wasted fucking
room.
space in this house upstairs. Not upstairs. Not even. You can't call it upstairs. There's not stairs to it.
Yeah,
Just wasted.
the attic
do
ladder.
they
Mine's
what
like
they got.
Do they levitate
Uh,
to get up there?
Chris
Well, I mean,
Angel.
there is an attic, but there's not
Attic
a
ladder.
staircase. You
Yeah.
know, like
They're
there's-
stairs, but
yeah.
they're like
You
under
can build
250
attic
pound stairs.
Yeah.
Those ones that I kind of get scared about going
the
up
ones-
there.
Oh,
Get
no,
the
this-
Christmas
this
tree
dude-
down.
This dude weighs like 400 pounds. Like, you should see this fucking attic door that we have to install. It's pretty impressive. Like, it has.
Bulky.
It's bulky. Yeah.
Like break your neck if it
I
ever
don't
really
even know
did
where he
fall
found
out.
this thing, dude. Like, I've never seen another one.
Those
But-
attic ladder stair things are
Yeah.
the standard weight version are not
No,
friendly.
And
to
they will
anybody.
pinch the shit
Especially
out of
when
your hand.
nails
Yeah.
are going like this.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Not really in the supporting
yeah.
beam.
That's just the house you had built. Fucking jerry rigging bitches. All right, so next in line, I guess we got Brittany. I know what she's been up to.
Working.
Pounding,
public does.
pounding badge.
Pounding barge.
Yeah.
Saving lives.
Yeah,
Working
working.
on the ambulance.
Saving
Saving
lives,
lives.
one blowjob at a time.
Yeah. So, Matt, I know what the fuck you were up to. So how did cutting the fucking no fucking
Swear
way.
to- I'll
No.
show, next break I'll show you. It's in
Okay,
the paper,
we'll
it's in
take
there
it.
getting painted.
So he mismeasured. Actually, plans
I
changed.
didn't mismeasure
Plans
shit.
changed, which forced a Ventahood to be totally fucked. And
The Ventahood you had on Snapchat?
That big beautiful motherfucker, I had to shave 3.5 inches off each
it's
side.
off
of
each
it.
side.
Because he can't read a tape measure?
No, it
No, the
wasn't
plans
me.
were wrong.
The
Oh.
plans are wrong.
I work with a guy that can't read a tape measure, and I fucking hate him.
No, Chase knows. I'm a
Oh,
numbers
it is.
guy.
Let me set
I'm a
tape.
good measurement guy.
Let's just do it.
Nah, no logos. So
Don't show the logo, son.
Oh, yeah.
what's Colt doing? We're gonna teach him to run
He
the tape
gonna
measure.
turn that
Ready?
motherfucker around immediately.
No, I'm not. I thought about it. Cooter, you know how to read tape?
Yeah, anything under 4 inches.
Good.
What mark is this right here?
That's like 6 of my dicks.
Half.
That's a quarter.
Oh,
Wait, if you
What is
can't
it?
see the whole entire scale, it's kind of hard to.
What?
I thought he pointed at the half.
That's what
Well, the half's longer than the quarters, and then the 8ths are shorter, and then the 16ths are shorter.
And the
Yeah.
64 shorter than
I wonder what the fuck that noise is.
Just enjoy each other.
When you get my
Well,
age,
how
I'll
about we talk about the fact that today the Catholic Church announced 300 of their own fucking priests here in Texas, pedophiles, 2 of them here in Paris, Texas.
Yeah.
Catholicism
really?
is a cult that fucking panders to pedophiles. Changed my
I
mind.
knew I should have been a
Didn't
Catholic.
it come from New York?
yeah, you
No,
missed
this
out.
came from Paris, Texas.
Well,
Yeah,
no, I
but
think
have
they
you
originally
not?
were-
Yeah,
one of
but
them was
Boston
from
was
New
the
York,
first
right?
one. Boston was the one like last month where they had like 3,000 of those fucking pieces of shit.
when
Okay.
I was a little kid.
A priest touch you?
God.
You, no,
got
no, I'm saying,
touched.
but you hear about stuff. When I was a little kid, on movies, you would hear about a priest
A little choir boy.
It's like a
molesting a
complete
little boy.
stereotype, but then it happens. So
Yes.
it's like you're.
And it happens
It's like,
in our
so
town.
why are we surprised? You put a little boy
You can pull your mic down.
in a room with a guy that is supposedly, no matter what his faith is, a pedophile. Goddamn, now you come out with all these priests that are fucking pedophiles.
Ooh, I got a question for you. Let's see how close you can get on this one, Chase. You're pretty.
Check it.
17 plus 3.
What is the ratio of pretty much like population to pedophiles in Paris?
Who fucking knows?
241 to 1.
I believe
There's
that.
97
like registered sex
There's
offenders.
97 registered sex offenders in Paris, Texas.
There's probably
97.
definitely more sex
97.
offenders than that. in
No,
Paris,
that's not
Texas.
even close to right.
Registered.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying like
That's not even
unregistered.
close to accurate.
I looked it up last night.
How many people do you think are in Paris? 35,000.
No, it's like 28,000. I think.
So 28,000. And how many registered?
It said 97, I believe. Is what it said
100
last
for-
night.
So it's 300 to 1, a little. That's
Does
what
it
I-
give
He said
details on
297.
why? Because, you know, a
That's
lot of
pretty
them could be,
Yeah, but
oh,
if
I
you-
was 19 and my girlfriend was 17.
Yeah,
and
some of that
some
some of
of
the
the
sex
rape
offender stuff.
bullshit.
Well, it does, and we talked about that a bunch last night. Apparently, I won't use a name, but
Cooter Nelson.
the big cabinet shop here in town
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
we
yeah.
bought he's registered.
Well, I think a lot of business owners are, and you know, some of this, and Cooter might know a little bit more about this, working in the medical field.
Pedophilia.
I think last week, what did you say? Regret doesn't equal rape.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's such a big deal. And here's the deal too. So when you were 18, did you ever date anyone 16 years old?
Oh no!
Yeah.
So when I turned 18, Taylor was like
exactly.
6 weeks behind me, and she was 15.
Yeah.
Not yet 16. I didn't talk to her for like 6 weeks until she was legal
Yeah.
for me to be
Bullshit.
dating.
So scared.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh no, we didn't go on dates. We
And
didn't
all
go in
it-
public. Nothing.
All it takes is that one circumstance where one thing goes bad, and then you're a fucking sex offender.
I get in an argument with her dad, and he says, "All right, you know what? Fuck it."
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, break
I'm
my
gonna
break
ruin
my
you.
daughter's heart. I'm
Yeah.
gonna ruin your life.
Hey,
break my daughter's pussy.
the well.
Yeah, no, well, I still know what that is.
Yeah, it's just it's a,
You didn't tell me that in case something ever happens. I know where to come find you.
And-
Oh, we're past all that.
Yeah, I think Matt, you talked about last week, Hunter, where if
Sorry.
if
Sorry.
you're illegal or if you're intoxicated, which could be considered .08.
Oh, like intoxication, like neither one can consent.
What
Yeah,
is-
inability to
that's
consent.
definitely on
That's
the
a
law.
that's a
What
huge
if you-
thing.
I'll argue this
Stoned.
fact all night
I'm
long.
stoned as fuck. What are you talking about?
Right
It's
now?
Friday night, bro.
I'll argue this fact all night long
Yeah.
because I took the drug and alcohol classes, and
Because
Drinking alcohol.
because
It was-
Why?
it was recommended by the state. that I
That's a
take one.
video we need to play.
But anyway,
I forgot.
that would be.
Oh, I forgot about that video.
I've got a video of that. But anyways, my thing is that you said .08, Chase.
Drops
yeah,
his
and
ass.
some states
That
have bumped
is
it down to
absolute-
.05.
No, but it does not matter. If you get stopped when you leave here in a minute, there was a girl
like
for
70
instance,
minutes.
that when I was in this, God dang, these are. Anyways, there was a girl that I was in a class with,
Kind of period.
and she had
What kind of beer do you think I'm drinking?
.02.
Chase Smallwood beer.
.02 is what she blew. That is 6
Below.
points, whatever,
Yeah.
below. And she got arrested for DWI. She was in the class with me, and I asked her, I was like, "Well, what the fuck are you in here for?"
Zero tolerance,
You
bro.
know,
Was she 21?
But
She's
no,
weak-
yeah,
weak
she
sauce.
was. But it does not matter whether it's .08.
If you can't
I'm
pass
saying,
the
but
sobriety
no,
part.
1.82. It doesn't
Heck, you
matter.
could actually swallow
Either
some
way,
Listerine.
it does not matter. It does not matter what you blow, what you do.
Oh, it
It
matters.
is the cop's discretion.
Does it matter who you blow?
It doesn't matter. Even if you blow
It may
the
affect
cop.
the outcome.
But I'm just saying, but it is the cop's discretion on whether or not you get arrested for DWI or not.
Yeah.
If he feels that
That's-
you're fit to drive or not.
Yeah, if you can't operate
It,
safely.
doesn't matter. Like I say, if you blow a
Or sexually.
.021, or you blow a point.
Well, I think
You got that
I
whiskey
think
dick
you would
boy?
start
You're going to
defining
jail.
it differently. Driving under the influence and then
Yeah.
driving under.
They already
driving
charge
while
you that way, but they do
intoxicated.
not. They
That's
do
why
not.
there's DUIs
Well,
and
getting charged
DWIs.
with something is completely
Yeah,
different.
I mean, she
than
could have been
getting-
taking a whole bunch
indicted
of
for it.
benzos or
getting
something like
prosecuted for something.
Prosecuted.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
she could
saying,
have
but
blown a
if you get-
.02 on the alcohol, but how much meth was she on?
that. Yeah.
Right, but if you'd seen her
Klonopin.
while I was in that class, she
That's
was
an instant
like a
blackout.
girl that seemed
Right.
like Brittany. Got off work, went up there to Joe's or wherever,
Brittany doesn't drink.
and had a few drinks.
Brittany doesn't
But either
drink.
way, it
We
was
all know that.
I'm in the
0.02.
medical field. Everybody in medical field drinks.
Took her to jail, charged her dead. Yeah.
And some states are moving. I know some states have actually moved it to 0.05, which is fucking like
That's like one beer.
tiny amount.
That's like-
Damn it. We need to get off this subject. I can talk about this all night.
Hey, Kolt Thompson,
Because
say you're a cop.
He's invested in this
no, I'm
subject.
saying,
Hold on,
because
don't-
I got stopped in 2015.
You were fucking drunk. I saw the
No,
video.
that
I
was
wish we had the video.
No, that was the one before this. That was the one before this. I
The
got
one before
stopped.
this, how many do you
And
have?
no, so I got stopped the night I got arrested. The first time, there's no way to count because I had beer, whiskey, everything. I deserved to go to jail that night. I deserved
Guilty.
it. I should have.
Cheers
I
to
mean,
that.
I never questioned nothing. I thought, you know what? I'm going to jail. I need to go to jail.
I need to see what that's all about.
No, I'm saying,
Almost took himself there.
Yeah,
bad.
but the second
He
time,
could have drove there.
Just
No, I'm
pulls
saying,
up to
but
the
the second
chair.
time was I had 2 beers. And I drank a
Always
bunch of
two.
No, I'm
Always
serious.
two.
Always two.
Brittany,
Colt,
you know,
if you're
I
gonna
got
if you're gonna
If you-
burn up time, you got to make a fucking point.
that's what I'm getting at. Is that I had 2 beers in the bar. I met a guy that I worked out of town with. He was in Paris, so I told him, I said, I'll take you home, wherever you want to go. We left the depot. Got pulled over because I rolled a stop sign. And I never got a stop sign. I never got running a stop sign charge, not once.
I never got a stop sign.
I never
Never
got
even
charged
think
with that, ever.
Well, hell no,
And I
because they
passed
got
all
way
my
more money out of
sobriety.
you
No,
for
I
the
passed
DWI.
all my sobriety tests. I passed everything. And when I went to jail, Cole Sane is the one that took me to jail.
Your grandma's not gonna watch this. You don't have to.
No, Cole
sugarcoat it.
Sane. No, I'm saying I was not drunk at
Colt's
all.
a fucking alcoholic.
No, Cole Sane took me to jail. And when I got there, you know what he offered me?
A beer?
A motherfucking Snicker bar.
Oh,
And
Is
I
that
told
when you
him
had to
no.
have a shirt
he
on?
thought you were
No, that was
hungry.
the first
No,
time.
that was the first time.
He's like,
Oh.
you're being dramatic. Eat a Snickers.
I'm just saying what I'm getting at here is that if you ever get pulled over, anybody out there, no matter what happens, if you get pulled over and you've had 1 or 2, it don't make a fuck. Ask the officer, are you taking me to jail or not? If you're gonna take me to jail, I'll gladly go. Get out of your car. Don't say nothing else until
Don't
the next
fucking blow on
morning.
the side of the road.
Never
Get out of your
blow.
car and lock the keys in.
Never blow. Never nothing. The night that I got arrested, I'm talking about that I was not drunk. I had a drunk ass felon in the truck.
You got those in the wrong ear, dumbass.
That's why they won't stick. But I had a drunk ass felon in the truck with me, and I had 2 .40 caliber pistols in the console.
You're lucky
Hey.
you didn't get a fucking felony.
How are you not in prison?
That's what I wondered.
I was not drunk.
How do you walk
I
amongst
passed
us?
all my field sobriety tests.
White privilege is a thing. Changed my mind.
All right.
Oh, eat a bag of dicks.
I got pulled up right across the Maxie house. Matter of fact.
What about the night I went to jail, Colt? Did I deserve to go to jail?
Pause.
Yes.
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 Yeah, you
Because you was
definitely
running
did.
130 fucking miles.
Okay.
Extra beer there.
So what the fuck were we talking about before we took a break?
We're talking about
But
marijuana now.
pedophilia.
Colt not
DWIs.
going to jail.
Yeah, I was
All
going
right.
to jail. But anyway, you
We're,
can move
we're hitting
on.
up the marijuana.
You can move
I
on.
can talk about that all night.
What are we going to talk? Oh.
I was
There's
pissed.
our clicking again. You think it's
It,
because
should, it shouldn't be going into the.
we're, we're overloading?
It shouldn't be
so much?
going into that.
All right, let's all just ignore it every other time.
It's external.
Yeah, it only lasts.
Yeah, let's
2
just pretend
seconds.
it
Every
doesn't
time I
happen.
hear it, I'm just gonna go.
The fuck?
Till I stop.
Okay, so before Colt went off on his drunken fucking rant again,
Not really drunken rant, but
Hunter come up with a great topic
Rant.
talking about just ruthless pedophilia that
In
the
the
Vatican
Catholic
allows
Church.
to happen.
It's fucking rampant, and that is just a cult that is for pedophiles.
Hey, see that fuzzy thing in front of you?
Yeah, I should probably talk into it.
Talk
huh?
into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
you
move
can adjust
closer.
it any way you want.
So I think that we should
Don't be
probably
afraid
just
of it, get
abolish
close.
Catholicism, kind of like alcohol in the early 1900s.
Yeah, put a
If we
fucking
could just go ahead
ban
and
on
make it
it.
illegal to be
so
Catholic.
and I don't know all the details, and I could
Freedom
be
of religion,
completely
bro.
fucking wrong.
Wait, what'd you say?
Freedom of religion.
Well,
You can't make it illegal
that's
to do
true.
that.
That's true. That's
You
very
liberal
true.
bastard. I figured you of all people would be okay with that.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, what if we just limit it to Catholicism? Like, we don't want you in our country. Get the fuck out of here, you kid fucking bastard.
Are you
It's not
saying
how
that
it
to
works. You
Catholics?
racist bastard.
It's just
Yeah.
That's not racist. That's saying we don't want you to fuck our children.
Well,
But it's got to be some
I mean,
of their.
I know
Trump
I
got
s-
called racist
I know I
for saying
sound
Muslims
probably-
are bad.
I know I sound like exactly like half the people in our town when they start talking about Muslims right now, but I just really don't like pedophiles.
Fuck the Muslims.
But there's got to be a
No, see, like,
process
why
or
fuck Muslims?
something
We're
in
not-
place where they allow
don't
that
have, like-
They tried to
contact.
kill us.
We didn't have 2 Muslims fucking kids in Paris.
How many
We don't know
times?
that.
Definitely have 2 Catholic priests fucking Muslims.
How
in
many
Paris.
Muslims do
Yeah.
we have imprisoned overseas, though?
What
They
does that
tried to
matter?
kill
You
us.
make no points.
They tried to kill
That's
us.
not even
You're-
a point. That's
you're
not
not-
even a valid
Well,
point.
They're
We're
trying
talking
to
about
kill us?
America.
You're comparing
They're not trying
apples
to
to
kill us.
oranges.
Who's trying to kill us?
Fucking.
Who's trying to kill us?
Oh, same old.
Conservative white men. If you look at the statistics
Hell,
in
we're
America.
all
Oh
in
my
war if you
God.
want to look at it that
Fuck
way.
politics.
So and I could be some of these facts could be skewed here. But
99% of mass shootings in 2018 were performed by conservative white men.
that is true.
Facts.
Okay, let's talk about
Because they're mad that our society's going to shit because everybody
gotta
needs a
calm the fuck
trophy and an
down.
ice cream cone.
Calm the fuck
But we
down.
should be worried about the Muslims. No,
All
let's
right.
worry about fucking
So-
people with
this
this whole conversation again.
no.
Oh, you
We'll just
paused
piece
it?
together. So, some of this information, this is my basic understanding, but the Catholic Church in whatever country they're in has a nation of their own.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Vatican in Rome.
So
It's like a
essentially,
little 1 mile wide city.
essentially,
Pedophiles.
priests operate under their own laws because they're not really citizens of the United States. They're citizens of
Of Vatican.
the Vatican. So that is the big loophole. And one of the big things that you definitely see happening is that priests,
Little boys getting fucked.
little boys getting fucked, but also priests that are actually doing this have the ability to just get moved around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they get
That's
taken
what
out.
they do. Oh no, we found out he fucked a little boy. Let's just send him to a new church where they don't know him,
or
not
a
mention
small
it.
town where
Fresh
nobody
prey.
knows who you are.
Yeah, like literally, that's what they do.
They figured him out. We got to get him somewhere.
We
new.
gotta get him a new church. Quick, get
But
a new
we're-
cardinal.
When is this going on? Like, when are they alone with these boys? Like, I don't understand. That's
Well, they're
it
altar
seems
boys.
like-
They're,
Yeah.
That's to me like where there's your avenue to like discontinue that. I mean, don't make it where they're present, alone with children.
Yeah.
Don't
Make
take
it like
your
you go to
children
church, you do your
I
do
like
your
this
thing, and then
idea.
you leave.
Continue
I mean,
on with this. Don't take your kids to church.
Do
Yes.
those kids go do their own confessions?
exactly.
It
No,
has, it
they're
has to
allowed.
be in that area where they do their own
no,
confessions,
so
but
they're
it's
altar boys that are assistants to priests. So altar boys get mentored by priests.
Yeah, and they're with
no
them, like,
more
all the
altar
time.
boys.
Exactly.
Women can't do it. Girls can't do that. By their beliefs, girls can't do those.
Maybe it should be an
parts.
altar man. So
Yeah,
that if I'm
over
21 years old
18
helping
years
out priest
old.
man and he says, drop your pants, I can knock the shit out of him.
Yeah.
So
Or
that
drop
sounds
my
like a
pants
good idea.
willingly.
Yeah, over 18 years
Either
old.
or, you
Or
know.
get it,
because
whatever.
Yeah, I can.
Whatever.
As long as we're not intoxicated and we're over at 18.
Well,
We're not
On
talking
that
about
point-
consensual sex here. We're talking about non-consensual
on
sex.
on the religion side of pedophilia and blah blah blah.
the religion.
Well, it is. That's exactly what we're talking about. The religious side of pedophilia. Gandhi. Have you ever read that story about him?
Mm-mm.
He slept with an underage girl naked in his bed every night
Gandhi was a terrible person.
to help him resist the urge of wanting to have sex with her. So you're admitting to wanting to have sex with an underage girl
Well,
and sleeping in bed naked with her. I mean, that's almost a form of pedophilia. In
this
itself.
is an unreasonable argument because who set age of consent at 18? Modern
Oh,
society.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, but
So look at a woman's body. When are women prime? When does
13.
When does nature say?
It's horrible.
As soon as
It's
you start your
horrible.
period.
Yeah,
Nature
exactly.
says when you start your period.
Say that or the sixth
Start
grader.
breeding now.
Horrible.
Modern.
That's horrible.
if it bleeds, it
Don't
breeds.
just
Who said-
chuckle into the microphone.
Who said 13?
Me.
Anybody. So nature.
That's the average age of PMS.
Nature says your body's able to conceive. Now, modern society sets the 18. Not that I don't disagree with that. I want to say I fully agree with whatever it is. But if you look at truly like old school societies way back in the day, Kids were getting pregnant
Oh,
way
they were
younger.
popping them
They
out
were
like
getting
14,
married
15
at
years old.
12.
Yeah,
My
12.
grandma got married when she was 15 years old.
So look at the
They
medical
were
side.
looking to
grandma had my
extend
mom
their
at 14.
prolific
Yeah, shit's
period, their
batshit
ability to
crazy
have more
nowadays.
children if you start when you're
Longer,
14.
yeah, because it was come from cultures. The more many hands make light work. If you can make fucking 15 babies, you can carry a lot more corn at the end of the day.
Fuck that.
Could
But-
you imagine what it'd be like? You
They
can't
didn't have
having
anything
sex
else
for
to do,
fun
though.
after 15 babies. Like,
Yeah.
you having sex just for another hand. Like, come here,
So,
woman. I need
so
another
think
one.
about this from the pure medical side. A 40-year-old woman does not heal as fast as a 14-year-old woman. So a 14-year-old woman, boom, pops out a baby. You know, the wrecking ball hits her downstairs. Shit gets back together quicker.
Well, especially nowadays, because they sew them up tight.
They do. That extra stitch.
Can we talk about something else? This 14-year-old girl stuff is killing me.
I'm just saying,
Well, it's
He
just
can't contain himself.
Yeah.
modern success. So someone sat down at some point, some group of people, and wrote on a piece of paper, 18.
You made a very good decision.
17.
That's
Uh,
a 17.
Let's
Yeah.
make it
Technically,
to
yeah.
where you have to at least be
Well,
a
your brain
fully formed
development,
person.
you know, you're really not developed until you're 25. Your brain isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how
shit.
easy
I'm
it
almost
is
30.
to go to?
I'm not fully developed.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping my penis
The
still
rest
grows.
is just subjective.
Probably not going to.
Yeah. And
You can't tell me that.
It's just-
Micropenis
it's
is
just
their
like
thing,
the
bro. You just
age-
gotta accept it.
it's just like the age to drink. It's 21. Someone sat down a piece of paper and wrote 21. Age to join the military. I think
18.
you think you can sign at
17.
17.
With
Yeah,
parent
you can
consent.
sign at 17.
Yeah.
You can leave for boot camp at 17
Yeah.
with parent
Yeah.
consent.
So, all these constructs of society is just all a group of people sitting down and putting an age. If those people would have said, okay, well, right to or age to consent is going to be 15, then that's what it would have been. It's just our social norm is set those ages.
Speaking of ages,
Why don't-
did you see where Texas and Oklahoma are voting that no nicotine, 21 and older?
They've already done that in a couple of states. I'm
Well, no,
kinda
but
for it.
Oklahoma and Texas right now are voting on it. It's because they're
21?
saying the vape, the e-cigs, and all that, it's an epidemic. Because you've got 15 and 16-year-olds walking around e-cigging it. So they're trying to make it 21.
Just don't pay attention.
I'd probably vote for that.
That's what I was going to do.
But who make like I said, who
The-
makes those rules? Because what's the age you get a tattoo? 18 still.
18.
18.
So
But
18.
But
parent,
you can do it
parent,
with parent consent at whatever
It's
age.
16,
You know?
right?
Like with parent
16.
consent is such a great age, like loophole to put
with
in
parent
anything.
consent, it's 16, right?
So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
parents don't
16.
give a shit. So
If
they
your
can get it done
parents
earlier,
suck
you
at
know.
being parents,
know.
you can do this before all your friends.
Yeah.
Why is it saying they suck at being parents?
I don't know. It's just making a joke.
Just
Sure,
more
it comes
lenient.
to just like a psychological
Like that was my
standpoint
mom. Like
too.
I've got tattoos that I've had
These-
since I was like 16, and I mean I don't think it's wrong.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't see where you draw the line between something that you're doing with your own body at 17 is your age to consent
Yeah.
to sex.
Well, the
well,
government should never
18
tell
is
you,
your
hey, you
time
can do
to
this
get
to your
a
body or
tattoo.
not.
Well,
Yeah.
you're allowing sexual interaction.
I'll tell you,
but
If you can get a tattoo at 18, if you get a tattoo at
There
18,
we go.
you can do anything at 18.
exactly.
Except
Because
drink
they say
alcohol.
like, oh well, you can't do this. Yeah, you can serve your country
Exactly.
at 18, but you can't buy alcohol.
They need to move
Not
it to
saying,
uniform
well, I'm saying,
age.
but I can understand this. I can understand this. That if you say that you're 18, you can buy alcohol, you can serve your country, do whatever, that's fine. But you can't right now. You can't. When we were everybody here at this table, you couldn't buy beer unless you had a fake ID until you was 21.
yeah.
Who
So if you serve, no,
Do
I'm
you see
saying,
this beard? I was
you
buying
did, but I'm
beer
saying this
in
is that
senior
if
year.
you can serve your country and you can go to the military and you go to the Navy, the Air Force, whatever, at 18,
kill people. literally,
yes,
yeah.
at 18, there's kids that turn 18 before they graduate,
Or
so
just
you ought to be
live
able
in
to buy
Idaho.
beer.
So
So
the
you ought to
sh-
be able to buy alcohol.
the
If you can go
short
fight for oil, you should be able to drink a fucking beer.
You ought to be able to go
deserve
into a
it.
store and buy that.
So the
Because
short
you
way
can
to
in
say
Europe.
that, the way to sound
Can in
smart is
Europe.
if you can give your life for the legislators that write the law, you should be able to do anything within the bounds of the law.
Exactly.
Boom.
I agree. 100%.
Cocaine and hookers.
And it's 19,
Not cocaine
19 in
and hookers.
Canada.
No.
Ass crack.
You
I
know,
think
we're
that a,
North
good
America
statement.
continent. So I
Yeah.
mean, 19 in Canada. What's the 2 years?
11 in Mexico.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I think a good
If you
way.
can
to
get
put,
yourself up on
Mexico-
the stool.
I went to Mexico before I was 18,
Oh yeah.
and they told me, they was like, you got a bracelet?
Chase was
You can do
there.
anything you want
Chase
to.
was there, wasn't he?
He was there.
We talked about
No,
this
this is
the
the
first
first.
night.
No, this is the first time. Before Chase and them ever went, my mom and them brought us an adult bracelet in the resort we were at. You do anything you wanted to, anything. Me and
Yeah.
Hunter Brown,
Cocaine and hookers?
anything you wanted.
Whatever was on the buffet, man.
I'm saying,
was
but
on the
anything,
menu.
One of those
anything you
last
wanted,
night.
me and Hunter Bramlett done because we thought
Each
We're
other.
15 years old. It's time to party.
Yeah.
Watch some donkey
But I'm saying, but if
shows.
you can die for your country, they want you to sign up. Want you to do all this, but if you can make that sacrifice, you'll be able to buy beer and buy snuff or cigarettes or whatever the fuck you want to.
Yeah. Well, if you look overseas, like Germany and a lot of European countries, you can drink on the job and you can do all that. The bigger issue
be
with the
nice.
United States is
I think it's 2. You're allowed two during an 8-hour period in Germany.
well,
Because
all
they
of
sounds
take an
wonderful.
hour
We
break.
would be so much happier.
yeah, keep that dog
Really?
on. Well, if you say a number, who cares? You can just put one in your boot, drink another one. The deal is with American is the lack of control to say I'm going to stop before.
And that comes with everything, like
Yeah,
food,
that's independent.
including
Because
food.
we're out
individual.
here getting fucking hammered, boy.
Yeah.
White boy wasted.
And I talk to a lot of people.
Are you assuming I'm a boy
and white?
I mean,
and white?
I thought we had established both of those. already.
I am.
You can. I can change genders right now.
I'm
if I want
fluid.
to.
Gender
I mean,
fluid.
I can
Gender
too.
queer.
Look at me. Butterfly.
I thought we established
Lady.
last week that if I've seen you before, you can't just say today, "Hey, I'm a woman."
No, you can't. I can.
Well, yeah,
That's
you
his
can.
choice.
According,
you can.
that's my choice. You can't tell me. I
Well,
can't.
no, I'm saying you can, but I thought y'all said that last
No,
week.
I'm a
Put it
lesbian
on the page.
unicorn. I'm a lesbian unicorn. So
Yeah.
So you can't. So
What
do
we
respect-
figure out is that the numbers are not the best way because there's different people with different
Yeah,
levels.
yeah.
It's, just,
Of-
it's all yeah.
Is
I
it
mean-
is it an 8 ounce? Is it a baby Coors?
So
is
we
it
do.
is it a 16 ounce Miller? Is it a Belgian triple? Ask her. But you want to drink
Hey,
a
Belgian
beer?
triples
You
are
want a
fucking
Belgian- you
good.
want a
That's why they're
Belgian
stout as
I want
I
a
fuck.
drink one of
Belgian
Chase's
triple.
beers.
They
I'm
will
done.
fuck you
I'm
up.
gonna
Two of
have to-
those.
hey, if we're gonna have to start bleeping you out, you keep calling out names.
I'll give you.
I can say whatever I want.
These
I'm
are
just
brews.
not
These are
giving free
brews,
advertising.
not brands. I'll give you a little handsy under the table for a Belgian triple.
I got one.
There's
in
one right there.
You want
You
it?
can have it.
You want the
Yeah.
handsy under the table?
You can have it. It's okay. I'll give you. It's a gift. It's a
This
gift.
one's on
Go
the
ahead.
house.
Save me a trip
It
later.
is. It will,
Yeah.
My favorite part about
It's
the whole
stout.
story
it
is
will
that
fuck you
Brittany
up. It's like
said,
8% alcohol.
I'm so
What's
down
it taste
for it.
like?
Where's it at?
What does it taste like?
alcohol.
Alcohol.
Do we got to do this prison style under the table?
Yeah, pour it underneath the table.
Well, I like
Whoa.
the whole.
I thought
My
you were about
favorite
to
part of the
open
whole
that. You'll need
conversation
a
was
bottle
Brittany
opener.
said, "It's a gift.
Yeah, I'll pass.
There's no handies.
I'll pass on the
It's a
handy.
gift.
It's a
It's
gift.
a gift."
That's gonna save me work later if he doesn't. You have a bottle opener on your.
Hey Chase, can I bring up a subject? Do you mind?
Let's see what you come up
See
with.
what you got.
Brittany,
Yeah.
can I ask her a question?
Yeah.
What about the paramedics in Paris?
What about
They
it?
are employed.
The chunky
No, I'm
monkeys.
saying, but the underpaid
Oh, yeah.
employees in Paris.
Yeah, I mean,
Firemen.
it's just
No,
that
no,
and
no.
the firemen
Well,
included.
I
mean, they're
wasn't.
about
I wasn't trying to. I'm just
Yeah.
asking because my brother-in-law, I guess
dude.
step-brother-in-law,
Yeah.
he is a paramedic. You know, Jason.
Yeah.
He works sometimes 48
Yep.
48 hours on, no sleep. I mean, non-stop sleep.
It's
I can't imagine because I can't go 48 hours with some kind of drug or something like
Well,
that.
you gotta look
I
at it
can't
this
do that.
way.
But they make so many trips to Dallas, and they save people's lives. But I'm just asking that if you had one thing to say to the city of Paris.
Easy.
We're not going to. We can't say that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. But I'm saying if you had one thing that you had to say that
We can talk about
would
paramedic-
imply
Magic wand.
your importance into the community that would improve your job pay scale. What would it be?
well, you got to look at it this way. When
Not
this
your
pay,
job pay
when
scale,
the
'cause I don't know
when
what
the
you
pay
make,
scale
but-
was started, it was when
I don't understand.
911 emergencies were emergencies. They were true emergencies. So you only ran 2 or 3 in a 24-hour period. Now you're running about 10 to 12, but it's things like, oh, I stumped my toe last week, or
Who are you
I-
to tell me that's not an emergency?
Yeah, and I can't say it's not
Exactly.
an emergency.
No,
I have
but-
to go get them and treat them just like they
listening
are.
to Jason, I've heard stuff before that, and I've heard firemen say, because Jordan Blackshear's fireman in Paris, that he says we have to go help the paramedics because the paramedics don't have to pass a physical agility test
They-
before they become a
Some
paramedic.
Let's
big
just put it this
boys.
way. When I started working there, I did not
That's
have
bullshit,
a
I
PAT
think.
test or physical agility test that I had to take. Now, at LifeNet, I do. And you have to do it
But
in a
I'm
certain
saying,
amount
but
of
the
time.
people you work with don't have
Yeah.
to pass it,
Well, look.
and that's
I
bullshit
didn't.
to
I
me
don't
because
think. I never
if-
heard that was a reason, but why they had to. A lot of it's they need to get their revenue up, and a lot of times they help us.
Yeah, there's like
love having the
ancillary
firemen.
help.
But my
Yeah.
thing is that
assistance.
just like Kevin Cook and them. But my thing is that if Brittany from the past, I know Brittany, I know Chase very well, but she's in good shape, can be in good shape. She needs to be even better if she has to be. But my thing is that why would they not put in some kind of physical test
I agree.
for first responders, other than like firemen have to take this big test?
I thought we were gonna talk about them
it's
getting
kind of
paid
crazy
more.
to me.
Hey,
You have to go help.
We need
To say, I mean, he's
They're
I
not
think you'll find
compensated.
more of an argument on what Paris pays versus.
Yeah, because that's
Other-
a Paris thing.
yeah.
Because
Go to
because
hell.
you go
I mean,
Paris,
their
you're gonna
pay
make a
scale
lot more
really
money.
hasn't changed since the 80s. And
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, what they do to get by is they add a step.
Because there's
Which
someone at the top
suffices.
needing to make money.
What I've heard in the past was that Johnny's son Jason, they took a pay cut like 2 years ago. So that
it happens all the time in every industry.
Well, it's
Oh, well,
crazy
I
because
understand that.
EMS
And I
right
do
now
too. But I'm
is
saying, but
self-sufficient.
he
It
is-
makes money for the city.
So if
And that's
it works
what's great.
for
It's separated
every
from
other
fire and
industry,
police.
why wouldn't it work for healthcare?
But
I don't think
they have to take
I
the force.
it's
don't.
it's habit.
No,
is
exactly.
where
It's force of habit,
Well-
and the right doesn't want to budge on the fact that we could
Nah.
provide health care for all of our
because you
citizens.
can't and still have a sustainable structure.
definitely
it
can.
seems like you can.
Nope.
Because the idea behind it
It
is
works
really
for 297
Well, I mean,
other
you look at all
that
the
countries.
don't have
It
the
works.
same
The
systems
problem-
that we've
Talk
had
to a
in place for
Canadian.
20 years.
I
when
do,
you
I
when
do
you
talk
have-
to Canadians regularly.
Hold on,
and
one
they
at a
are
time.
Hold on a
pretty-
minute. Let's listen to Cooter.
I have a friend who I could get literally right now to message me back and tell you how wonderfully the healthcare in UK. She lives in Birmingham, England. She was diagnosed last summer
We
in
don't
like
live in
August with uterus, like some kind of like ovarian cancer,
Uterine
uterus
cancer.
cancer. I don't know. She was diagnosed in August. In September, they did a full hysterectomy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Here- I mean,
4
it-
weeks.
That sounds
4
good.
weeks later. It
We
sounds
have
pretty
universal-
fucking great. If you had health, if you pay for
That's what I think
insurance in
about
America,
Dick's
you
combo.
can't get that kind of health care.
That
We
is
have
true.
universal
Like-
health care in the United States.
No, we don't.
It's the VA system. It's
Yeah.
a perfect
It's the VA,
example
yeah.
So
of
if you're a veteran, you have full health care.
you have
And it
full health
sucks.
care and it sucks
And it's
it's
fucking
inefficient
terrible.
and it's slow
So
and that's what you're looking at. So that's how our government handles universal
Yeah.
health right now. Would you want to put that in place for the entire nation?
No.
So think about it this way: if you had like this awesome palace you're going to build, and you built it on sand, it wouldn't last very long. That's the problem. Universal health care, everyone will admit, would be great
'Cause
But
you wouldn't
the-
have to pay
but the-
for it.
But the pillars underneath that would
Oh, we'd pay
sustain
for it.
that.
no, you'd still pay for it.
So universal health coverage that would give the same coverage to everyone equally without and making it affordable
Would cost a 1%
you're
raise in
still
taxes.
gonna have the people that can't pay anything. So you're still gonna have your state dependent Medicaid population. You're gonna have those people that are
Okay,
completely.
so you put a parameter on it. If you don't pay your taxes, you don't get fucking health care.
But what about
That-
the people
but
that
that's
don't
what they do
qualify
now.
for
if
it?
you don't have a job, you don't have health care.
That's what they do now. And guess what? There's still indigent population that eats away at medical expenses and
well, no, you
healthcare
literally
funding.
deny them.
It's
You-
like the
you can't
HSA
deny them
accounts.
care,
Like,
'cause
Yes, you
that's-
can.
if
If
it's
you,
not-
if you change the law, right
that's
now
what-
our laws say you can't deny them care. But if you universalize healthcare and you set laws and you set new standards,
That's
Yeah.
the point we're trying to make, is that the pillars that universal health care would be built on would be faulty.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you have to work your way
if you
from
if you're looking at it from an Eastern point of view, yeah, it's gonna be very faulty. But look at it from the way that the rest of the world
Yeah.
looks at it, and think of the fact that
Yeah.
oh,
I think
my arm's
the-
broken, I could go get some health care, and
America's
now I have to pay
crooked.
29% taxes instead of 28. Or, oh, my arm's broken and I can't afford health care, so I'm going to sit here and let my arm re-heal because there's people in America that do that every
Yeah.
fucking day.
But if you look at universal healthcare systems at work, they're
All of
all
them.
geared towards like preventative
Population
care measures,
control?
more important, more health, benefits,
Yeah.
maintaining your health
yeah,
versus
don't weigh
waiting
300
till-
pounds.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
take care of your own fucking
And then you
self,
have
we don't
America,
Birth
who is
control.
more dependent
Yeah.
on
Birth
processed
control.
foods, different poor diet, things
We're-
that are
we're-
unhealthier
So
by
we would have
nature.
to change our lifestyle fuck us for universal health care.
Yeah,
That
but-
sounds
but-
terrible.
So you
Oh my
can't come
God.
in the backside and get universal health care when you have
can't-
such
you
bad
you can't
health.
start at the top
Yeah,
of the pyramid.
no,
the
obesity,
golden
everything.
medical, the
Yeah.
universal healthcare. You have to start at the bottom.
All right, well,
career.
Get rid of fat people.
I mean, okay, yeah. Well, and
So
so
doesn't sound like a bad idea to
let's
me.
let's
Sorry,
let's,
Cooter.
let's look at the
So,
foundation.
like, I mean, it really
Sorry,
doesn't.
McDonald's.
Like, take
Yeah.
care
Yeah.
of your own fucking body. Don't weigh 400 pounds.
Being obese and
Set parameters on it of if you are obese. Here are our
yeah.
like if you fall into like you're detrimental to
That's
your own
discrimination.
health.
Well, that-
okay, discriminate against people who discriminate against themselves.
So you can't.
What about people
Okay.
who
We're
abuse the
not.
welfare system?
Yeah,
I know
because there
poor
is a
people
One
who
at
have
a
way better health
time.
than my dad, and my dad's a millionaire.
One at a
So
time.
where does
because
that
there's
come
a
in?
skinny person out there who's had
Yeah.
6 children, who's on the Medicaid system, who has not ever had a job, who is all of
Career-
her children are taken care of.
Career welfare.
Yes,
Preventative care,
they
birth
were-
control.
and you can't turn those people away. So when you go to
Under our
universalized
current
health care
system.
under the current system, but are you going to find
change
a
the
system
system.
that denies people the access to health care when
Change
that's the
pe-
whole side of
Deny
universal
healthcare
health
to
care?
people that don't care about
So
their health.
That's
Yes.
not universal health.
I don't really
Yeah, that's
think
not
you're
universal
listening.
health. That's not universal health care.
He's not.
If
He
you
has his
deny.
own-
Yeah, universal health coverage is coverage for everyone, not coverage for
Regardless.
the ones that deserve it, because that's where we're at now.
I think we need to have a big culture change in
Yeah.
why does a salad cost $19 and a double meat
Well,
cheeseburger
look at the
costs
rest of the-
$1.84.
look at the-
Absolutely.
Exactly. You're getting into more of look at the rest of the world. You don't see rampant obesity
Yep.
in other countries.
You don't, I
see
agree.
rampant diabetes. You
Yeah.
don't see.
Okay, so we're talking
Yeah,
about before we
yeah,
took the
nice.
breaky, we're talking about universal health care. And look, everyone wants more health care. I don't have health insurance, okay? My wife and my kid do.
And it's crap.
And it is crap at that point. But if you build an ivory palace on quicksand, so we're talking about obesity and all those things, until you can make. So, and my point is, if you're denying health care to anyone, then it's not universal. Now, you could say you maybe pay a higher
Well,
tax.
then change the word universal.
But in the world we live
subsidize
in-
healthcare.
Yeah.
In the world we live in now, in our society, the way
Yeah.
everything's based, if you say that,
Yeah, just no
that's discrimination. You can't tell him because of his life choice or because of your life choice.
Yeah.
You want to do
because
cocaine
I
every
should
day?
be able to
can't
live as
raise
shitty
you.
as possible.
I
Yeah.
think, like,
Well,
okay,
what's wrong with
when
doing
Ben
cocaine?
Carson had a good idea, the health savings account type thing, where when you're born, you have so much money go into it, it's yours. You cut out the middleman. You cut out insurance companies. Like, okay, say for instance, I go to see a specialist.
That's a pretty good idea.
My doctor, it costs $150, but without insurance, it costs me $100. So look at it there.
Yeah.
That's where the corruption is. It's because it's paying that middleman. And if you can,
That's
you
true.
can negotiate your price with people. Like I had a patient. She said when she had her daughter, that I think it ended up costing her twins. It ended up costing them $5,000, but with insurance, it would have cost her like 10.
Yeah.
But she was able to settle a price because she's paying out of pocket. So there was just no point in having insurance. Like my deductible is $3,000.
So we
I have to
cut
Well,
pay $400 a month for just me and
Yeah.
my kid for insurance, but I still have to pay out of pocket prices when I go to see, like $75 for a regular doctor's visit, $150 for a specialist. But I can just say, hey, I don't have insurance, and it's cheaper.
Well,
Yeah.
there's room for negotiation when they're not guaranteed
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
So you cut out the middleman,
Contracted rate.
aka
They're
the
milking
insurance
it out of
company,
them insurance
Yeah.
companies.
And you pay the medical employees, all of them, whether they're a doctor or a nurse or an EMS, you pay all of them out of tax dollars.
Yeah, we
So
have
here's
our
what we
own
do.
set.
We
It's crazy.
all when we're born get a
Crazy
microchip.
ideas.
We all get a microchip implanted in us, and that microchip evaluates our life risk and our health at all times, and that changes the rate we pay. Just like modern insurance is starting to become, they track you and all that. Well, so
I'm for all of what Chase is saying.
let's
right
talk
now.
about universal health care. If so, you want to pay. So the biggest expense is the one that sets the cost. So the way car or automobile insurance works right now is the people that cause the most accidents influence our prices. But if everyone paid on a base by base cases, you took driving classes, you never sped because they tracked your vehicle, you used your blinker every time, your rate would go down.
Oh, like Lemonade
Like
does.
Allstate.
Yeah, so
Allstate.
think about
Allstate
yours.
has it. Lemonade has it. There's a couple different
If
companies
I
that have it.
skydived, used cocaine, and raised tigers,
You're living a
You-
pretty
you'd be
fucking awesome life.
awesome.
You're not worried
Can I
about
hang
health
out with you
insurance.
more
Do you feel
often?
like someone that is a stay-at-home mom with one kid should pay the exact same health rate that didn't do anything risky?
No, the stay-at-home mom should pay more.
It should be custom
No,
to you.
but
She should pay less. Why are risk?
Why would
right
she
now,
pay less?
right
risk
now,
to the
our-
system.
She has
Less.
another life.
No, I'm saying the mother,
Hey.
not the child.
Potential,
right
potential
now, I use
for
Farm
costs.
Bureau. I use Farm Bureau, and I pay my dues every year, everything. But this past year, we built a house, had a baby, all this shit. And so, if you take building a new house, that takes a pretty hit on your credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they dropped our
It
fucking
is
insurance.
Well, it's
it
off your.
raised
It's
it.
based off your credit score.
It raised.
Mom got a discount
our
this year.
insurance. Because we had all this debt. Now this year it may drop because we've never been late or
Now,
nothing like that. But I'm saying
The way
that's bullshit.
the way
So
those
get
things
rid
are
of the
so the
insurance
ways
bullshit.
though the way
Why
those
the fuck does it matter if you pay? I don't give a damn if I had a 150 credit score. I don't give a damn if I had a 150.
see how much
credit
better
score.
that sounds right there.
It does.
Sounds good.
Can you
But if
have
I
a
had
credit score that
if
low?
I had a 150 credit score,
I don't think that's possible.
I'm just saying.
That's pretty
But
low.
if I paid all my bills, everything's on time. My mom, when I was a kid, I was a black kid. Whatever.
Whoa!
Why did we get racist all of a sudden?
Me and Keith gonna have
I've
a
heard,
talk.
I've heard a lot of kids that grew up that was 18 years old that they had their credit score was horrible because their mom had credit cards and had bills in their name.
Yeah. So
So
look,
my thing is that if I myself done all this shit, fuck you. But my thing is that God damn it, if I pay my bills, why is my fucking insurance higher?
okay, I have the exact answer to that because the highest risk value sets the cost for it. Because the people that buy a house that have a 150-point credit score are more likely to set fire to their own house.
Default on
Well, if
something.
you've
And
got
you can
kill
use
them.
so
if
much
you got,
money if you do
got
that.
840,
Dude, one time when my dad used to have rent
If
houses,
you got 840.
he had somebody burn down
I
one
thought
of
your
his
dad
rent
was a
houses
millionaire.
because they thought they were going to get the insurance check from it.
Yes.
Literally lit that bitch in gasoline and set it on
The
fire and
people,
burn it down.
the people in the more risky situation and cause the more damage to the system set the cost value.
so yeah,
for
we
everything.
get back to take out the fucking middleman and
Okay,
universalize
so
healthcare.
here's a
Subsidize.
Can we
Let's not
start
say universal.
somewhere else?
Subsidize.
so let's
healthcare.
talk about
Yeah.
that.
What you're
Health
talking,
savings.
basically talking about a single payer
Pay-
source,
Pay
single payer
medical
system.
employees
Like it's
out
your
of
The
personal
healthcare savings account, like Ben Carson, what she
Yeah.
brought up would be really good. If every American started with a certain value, and as you contribute to success,
Well, how do you put a value on life?
let's just say everyone started with
God damn
with
it.
a
I'm worth like
Like
a million
even
dollars.
number.
$5,000. And you
Is everybody
accumulate
starting
it
at the
a
same
certain
and everybody
rate.
accumulates at the same rate?
Yes.
Or do
Yeah.
like
No, you accumulate at the rate that you contribute to society.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So hey,
so we're
I'll-
discriminating against fat people?
I'll
We have
shut
to.
you down.
Is what you're saying. We
Oh,
have
that's
to.
what I'm saying.
I'll shut you
Yes.
down right here
I'm just making sure
because-
y'all are in agreement with me.
Oh.
Do we
hi,
live in a
that's so
society where a person chooses to utilize their funding inappropriately, has too many children,
Absolutely.
smokes cigarettes, does whatever, burns through their funds, but still is at the ER or still is at the hospital?
No,
or
they
doctor's
don't get care.
We don't live in a system like that because we live in a system where we can't even keep illegal people out of our nation.
Yep.
How are we going to turn away people that are U.S. citizens that are needing
do you make
care?
people-
There needs to be a
illegal.
way to evaluate them to make sure it's not.
Exactly.
If it's an emergent situation where it's life or death,
And that's another
Like-
thing. Medical screening.
yes, medical screening.
Medical screening
needs
is
to
a
be
real
th-
thing.
Yeah.
But there is no
It's not
funding.
popular, though.
There's no funding to pay for
Exactly.
medical screening. Our hospitals tried to implement medical screening multiple times,
East Texas Medical
but
Center had it.
there's no money and there's no availability of service.
There's too much liability in it too.
Exactly. You turn someone away that's having heartburn or that's having
But you need you
Sort-
can do that.
you
You,
know,
can do
something.
a quick
You can do
12 lead or something
baseline.
just to see
Yeah.
what's going on.
but you don't know what's happening. So someone comes in with a headache, has a history of headaches, has unmanaged hypertension. You think, okay, these are hypertensive headaches, whatever. Medical
having a
screening,
stroke.
and they're sent off,
True.
and then they have a ruptured,
But you know-
cerebral, like
yeah.
some type of
Aneurysm.
bleeding aneurysm or something like that. You couldn't foresee that in anything you did through medical screening. But where the caveat to that is, you don't have a place to send them. We deal with this in Greenville. There is not a free clinic anywhere.
Yeah.
So
So
nothing
put
is
one.
free.
Nothing.
So there's no funding. There's no
Yeah.
money. So through universal
There is
health,
funding.
that's where there
Get
is
'em, Cooter.
there is some possibilities through universal health, and it's where you put this back in primary care standpoint, where people have to use primary care regularly. However, our society is not adapted to that.
Do you know how much-
They don't
adapted.
just go to their doctor.
Yeah,
You know
we're
how much
adapted
money
to
we-
a right
you know how
now,
much
right
money
now.
we spend every day on war.
Preach
Please,
it,
hey,
Dad.
please tell us.
Preach it,
Yeah.
Dad.
I don't know how that is, rolls
Well,
over.
I'll-
Our
I'll-
20-year-old
I'll explain it.
20-year-olds
I'll
with
explain
4
it.
children are not fighting
Do you know how?
battles.
Do you know how much we spend every day on war? It's
How much?
$8.2 billion.
Name
you know how
what
much it would
war
cost?
we're in right now.
8 point.
So
which
what's
one right
that-
now?
what's
we have
that
troops
annually?
In Syria, we have war in Afghanistan. We have people.
We're not at war right
we
now.
are. If we have troops in another country, I consider that a war. And it's on the
Look,
books
in
of
another
war.
country, we have stations in almost every country.
We
in
have
Europe.
people offensively in Syria right now. We're in a war.
So we spend
We are
$3.2
lit.
trillion a year on war.
yes.
I would
Say
I would say that's. I mean, look. Okay.
On
Our,
wars.
our
What if we
war
weren't
budget
fighting
is in
those
the
wars?
trillions.
Look.
The budget for universal health care for 10 years would be $80 billion.
If you don't have any war,
No, you could just take 1% away from the war budget and supply health care for everybody in America.
Okay.
Can't happen.
No.
Yes, it could.
No.
you're saying
Can't
$1 billion
Or
a year?
NFL. Let's
Can't
go
have
No,
there.
8.
No, it can't
$8
happen.
billion.
8 billion.
It can't happen.
We just went through grant funding this last year at the hospital I worked for just to increase indigent care services within Hunt County. That alone for our hospital for Hunt County, the one county in Texas there that's not even that big a county, was over like $14 million for a 2-year grant.
So-
okay,
So
for 2
$14
years,
million. That's one county to
14
increase
years,
services, not
or
free.
14 million compared to 8 billion is literally
Can't
point
happen.
0.00006.
One county,
Yeah,
one
but that's
county
one
in the
county.
state.
Okay,
Look,
you only
and that's
have
not free.
297 counties in Texas.
Let's
That's
look
not
at it
free.
this way. Let's look at it this way.
That's
that's-
taxes.
So that's $2 billion. That's
Nobody's saying free.
that's $2 billion.
At no point have I said give anybody free health care.
But when you
I've
talk
never
about
said that.
when
I
you talk
said,
about universal
I
health care,
actually
that's free
earlier
healthcare.
said charge people 1% more in Taxes. That
That's-
was the thing I
But
said.
look,
But
listen.
that's to obtain free services.
No, that's not to obtain. You don't pay for something that's free. Do
Cooters.
you pay taxes?
You pay taxes
Yeah,
to
so-
pay for services.
Yeah, so you
that
pay for
aren't
so you
costing
pay
you at that
taxes.
time.
What are my taxes going to war? What does war benefit me?
So you want your
I would
taxes
much
to
rather
go
my
for-
taxes go to healthcare.
for
Yes.
people that don't work.
I don't give a fuck who it
Did
goes
you
for. I
say
would-
what does your taxes paying for basically the military benefit you?
What does that benefit me personally?
you have the
Safety,
you have the
security.
choice to sit here and talk into a
Personally.
microphone.
I mean, like
if we were under foreign
I went
control,
and I went
it
and I
would-
gave the army my left knee. So literally, what does
We
war
can sit
benefit
right
me
here and do this
personally?
shit right now and talk about
This is
Okay.
why we're here.
let me ask you this: if you had a dump truck of cash and you poured it onto a broken system, so if my house, I keep noticing the sheetrock's broken, and I spend $1,000 a month replastering and repainting and fixing the ceiling and redoing the trim,
They're
But
charging
I-
you too much.
but I never went underneath the house to look at the foundation.
That's your fault.
You fucked up.
But that's the problem. If you backed a dump truck up to the United States medical or healthcare system and you just tipped it up, if
I'm
you
not saying dump money into the same
me-
thing. I'm literally calling
We
for
just
a
got to
reform.
figure out where the cracks.
Let me
are.
ask
You-
this.
you
This is
reform
this
I'm
is
pretty sure he voted for Hillary.
let me
No,
ask
I'm
this.
pretty sure I voted for Gary Johnson.
Let me ask this. This is going to be a great segue.
Fuck
So
Hillary Clinton. I'll say that right now,
Fuck
louder
that
than any of
pants
y'all.
I want to ask Brittany and Cooter this specifically. So let's let them reply first.
I
Okay.
love how I've already got somebody to insults instead of points. This is
Why-
great. I love this.
Why is on like a foundational genetic building block description, why is heart disease the #1 killer in the United States?
Because we have a population.
I said-
of
Nope,
over
your
I
name's
said
not
Brittany-
Brittany or Cooter.
Brittany and Cooter. Let's let them reply
Oh,
first.
sorry.
Healthcare.
It's the food.
And smoking. Too.
Food and
your
smoking.
your two factors are obesity, smoking.
Okay, so let me ask you this: is
Personal
some
choices.
health or heart disease a genetically passed on propensity?
Inherently, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so if the people that were genetically more likely to develop heart disease didn't have access to life-saving, life-extending healthcare, which is kind of what Hunter was talking about
I
a while
didn't even
ago,
do anything.
didn't breed and pass that propensity on, would over time genetics weed out that disorder?
Yeah, I mean, that would be like an evolutionary thing.
Yeah.
Evolutionary. That's the problem with some of the United States. And look, I love my loved ones just the same. But people in 1452 that had that had the genetic propensity for
They
diabetes
died.
They
Died.
died.
And
They died. They didn't pass that gene on to their
didn't
children.
pass that gene on. So, as we sit here on this table and we talk about it, and
But was diabetes as rampant a problem? as
whatever
it
it
was
is,
It was type 1 at that point.
Was it even a
It was when they were
thing?
born.
it doesn't matter if it
It
was
was
skin
type
cancer,
1.
if it was long toenails, if it was
But-
heart disease.
But
But
diabetes.
they didn't make it through.
Yeah,
Type
something that
2
kept
is,
them from
is
being able to
developed by
function.
environmental
Diabetes
factors.
can be just as much like in cases. Diabetes can be just as much your
we're-
personal choices brought on by yourself as
Type
it
2,
is
usually
Type 2,
generally
yeah.
diagnosed after age 50.
Yeah. So
you
you
didn't
made
live
bad
that
So
long.
look at
choices,
someone-
You ate a lot of sugar. You ate a lot of fast
But
food.
let's-
You did a lot of shit to
But
your
type
body. So
1,
now
your
you have
body
to deal with it.
is born without.
But we get stuck on labels too much here. So let's look at someone's genetic makeup to decide to eat more sugar and develop type 2
Poor
diabetes.
decision-making.
What about if people that had poor decision making, that had addiction to sugars, that developed type 2 diabetes, had a mental, chromosomal, genealogical, however you say that word, propensity to eat more sugar,
Predisposition.
had a predisposition to eat more sugar to develop type 2
But that's not a
diabetes?
thing.
Is it not? So you're saying
I'm saying
people are
being predispositioned to eat sugar is not a thing.
absolutely false.
Absolutely not false.
If anyone,
I mean, you definitely do have to have sugars, but to
Look-
go out of the way to eat sugars,
A lot
that's
of
not,
it's environmental factors.
habits.
Are you
It
giving
really is,
dietitian
like-
advice, Dick?
I deal with dogs. In genetics is genetics. I can take dogs that have an extremely high drive that never been trained, breed them together. Those puppies that come out will have a predisposition to be more high drive than a dog that doesn't.
Okay, a dog and a human don't have the same mental capacity.
It doesn't matter.
on any level.
A lot
No,
of
a
it,
dog has
It is
legs.
A dog,
genetics.
a good dog will decide to stop eating before it kills itself. A human won't.
it's psychological. It's when it comes into the
So-
psychological
No,
studies.
It's what your
Genetics.
parents did, what your grandparents did.
Yeah.
what
People
you
are
do.
more predispositioned to drink alcohol, more predisposition to consume caffeine. If you took those people out of the gene pool, now we all love our loved ones, but do what you were saying a little bit before. Do we just let those people die? Just
Are they
society
killing
choose?
themselves?
That's what I say.
Ooh,
So I come from a father that killed himself, right? I think suicide should be legal. I think there should be a way that we decide that you say, I don't
Well,
want
I'm
to.
not saying like, are you taking your own life? I'm saying, are you killing
There's
yourself?
the assisted
by-
suicide. Some
Listen,
states do.
Hold on.
I've got a
Suicide-
long
'cause-
point here that I
hold
want to
on,
make.
hold on,
Just
hold
hold
on.
on with me. Just hold on with me, okay? So, I come from a father that committed suicide. I believe suicide should be legal. Now, how do we define suicide? We say, I'm creating action that ends my life in a certain amount of time span. Now, a gunshot is quicker than taking a slow release medication, and that's slower or more faster than sitting in a garage with the exhaust system. So we define suicide by a time span that we choose to end our life. Now, if we choose to smoke, and in 60 years we develop lung cancer because of that, in my definition, that's suicide because I consumed something that added nothing to my life,
It's toxic.
and it
And pre-warned you.
it only took
Well, yeah,
it only
we-
took from me. Now I can be a little bit of I'm a big definition person. I believe a little bit that well you eat McDonald's, but McDonald's supplies some benefit to your life because it gives you immediate caloric intake that allows your metabolic system to produce energy. That's a somewhat positive effect, but if we choose to eat hamburgers, God damn, look at burping everywhere. We choose to eat hamburgers. That's a little bit of a benefit. So I will put that outside of the realm of suicide. But
I don't think you can micromanage to that point, though.
but how
Like
do
you
you?
would have to have a little bit of macro management versus micromanagement.
So you would just put a number. So who gets services and who
Y'all were
doesn't?
talking about y'all were talking about physical tests earlier. I mean, physical parameters are a pretty defining thing in any.
So do you?
So you say, hey, can you come in here and pass this physical test? Can
So
you come
do
in
you-
here and meet all these parameters?
Universe-
You set parameters. Can you meet them? Cool. Whatever you need
Okay.
taken care of is done.
So do you set that continent to continent, country to country, state to state,
Well,
nation
we're
to
talking
nation.
about America, so I was just saying.
But
America.
universal, really, that's inside the
not
Milky
universal.
Galaxy way.
Well, we're not talking about everybody. We're talking about America, aren't we?
Okay,
But that's not
well, state to
universal.
state. So you can talk about, and I just read about this and listened to some information that people in like.
So are you saying that America should provide health care for everybody if we agree on this? Is that what you're saying, Matthew?
I'm just saying once you
'Cause I
start
don't agree with that
once
at
you
all.
start striking numbers. So let's say if you're a national United States citizen, there's a certain amount of guidelines that you got to follow in there. So let's look at legal immigration. Someone that's from Spain that lives in a totally different lifestyle. They come in when they're
immigrated
50
to America. You came here
legally.
to become a citizen.
So now that
So now you follow our laws.
Yeah.
but now that they have a different gut bacteria, genetic makeup, you put them in the same standards.
Sucks to suck. You chose to move here, didn't you?
Okay, I mean you're a tough motherfucker. I'll give you that. Okay, all right. So you're
I'm saying
These aren't
that
so
people
bad.
who work in the medical field should be paid by the government, but you should probably meet some parameters to get their services.
services. Yeah.
I
Okay.
can see that. I can see that.
If
Now,
cop-
I think there's
if
no
cops
pro-
are
yeah,
pa-
there's-
if cops can be paid to murder people, then EMTs and nurses should be paid to say. If you just said cops don't murder people from the bathroom, you're fucking high. But anyways, if cops are going to be able to murder people, then EMTs should be able to save people, and they should be paid by the same people.
So here's the deal too.
So
also.
you don't support the police, I'm assuming.
Some of them.
No,
Okay.
there's
and
not
it's
a-
hard.
No,
It
there's
is-
We'll go down that alley.
yeah,
in just
that's a sore
Like my stepdad
subject.
and 4 of my uncles are cops, and I can give you wonderful examples of how they've done great things for
we'll
society.
we'll go into
I
that
can
just a
tell
second.
you
Life to, you know?
millions of examples of how cops have murdered people for no
And
reason.
it's hard 'cause
Millions.
social media
Millions.
shows all
Yes,
the
when you
bad
look at
ones,
when
and
you
it
look
makes
at all the
people-
cases of all the world, I guarantee you there's
No,
millions of people.
no. You've been very exclusive to the
United
U.S.
States.
Okay, so let's take it back to the U.S. and let's just say what was it last year? 18,097
Yeah. So what do you
So-
define police murder?
police murder.
Mm-hmm.
A cop killing somebody.
Pulling the trigger in the line of duty.
No, it's
and
not even pulling
someone
the trigger.
dying.
One of my best friends of my entire life, Graham Dyer, he did not get shot.
So there's no.
he got tased to death.
I remember
they
that.
let him. Now, granted, he was on drugs. He did bash his own head into the wall.
Yeah.
But at what point did that cop not say, "Hey, I should probably fucking stop this"?
Yeah.
At
there's a
what point
failure
did
to
your
rescue.
friend say, "Hey, I shouldn't have done this
I
many
should stop."
drugs"?
Well, there's
Oh,
there's
man.
factors there. that are
Well,
factors.
external.
no. If you're
But
going
there
to
is a
judge the
failure
cop,
to-
If
you
you
got to
have
judge
somebody
your buddy.
handcuffed
No
and
one
in
can
your
hear
care,
anything.
Cops are supposed to protect and serve, are they not? Isn't that one of their things?
Protecting themselves
Protect-
is also
no,
an issue
protect. Protect means protect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that case
Okay,
specifically.
so probably
there's
should have
a,
protected him from himself.
So one
If
of
you
the.
have him handcuffed and in the back of your car,
They're
and
already
or
apprehended and they're already
in your
apprehended.
cell, and they are now 100% your property because prisoners are defined as state property.
too. Okay.
Okay, so you should probably fucking keep him from bashing his head into the wall.
It's just hard.
Or
keeping that.
Who says
Or
It's a-
you
it's
should
a hard
legalize
thing.
drugs and not have put him in jail for being on drugs.
Because you see
Yeah.
all these bad examples.
Or this stupid
One, two.
fuck shouldn't have been on drugs.
Oh,
That's what
well,
I-
That's his choice.
That's where I.
Drugs are a
Exactly.
thing.
Well,
So-
that's the cop's choice to
Mine's
go.
already
I'm
his
ask
choice.
this burn his
It's
own
his
bridge.
choice.
The
Until-
cop literally tasing him
until
in the
he
nuts
gets
and
in the
saying, "I'm
goddamn
gonna
cop
fucking
car."
kill you."
Okay.
That becomes murder at that point. I'm pretty sure, and
Okay.
that's on video.
Let me
No,
let me
it's
ask.
his choice until that motherfucker gets in a cop car by police.
Yeah,
They put him in the
yeah,
cop
exactly.
car.
And everything I'm talking
He
about is
should
on
stop.
camera in a police station,
Let
which
me
should
ask.
have been stopped by the cops.
There was.
How
Yeah.
do you stop something?
How do you stop something? You fucking don't they have chairs? They
It's
literally-
failure.
I
It's
know,
failure
I've
to
been in
handle.
this chair.
Okay.
You've
So
probably been in this chair.
every
They
cop
can strap
car,
you down to
every
it.
cop car has a chair to restrain
The police station
somebody.
does that. They had him in on camera, which we're talking
I
about
watched
right now.
the video.
Thanks
You're
for
talking
coming
about-
back in
you're
the
talking
jail.
about
Yeah, we're
the
talking about
Dyer
Graham.
guy.
Yeah,
Just hang
Yeah.
on, hang on.
They do not have restraints.
they
for
definitely
that.
had restraints in that section.
Okay, let
Negative.
me ask this. At what point do you say, okay, police continue to intervene, and when do we don't? Because if we say someone's resisting arrest and they're bashing their head, okay, well, I'm going to use
No, he was
physical.
already arrested.
Okay, let me ask this.
He's in the back of a cop car
Hold on,
with
just-
handcuffs on.
Hold on.
This is so tricky. So I can create instances where both sides win on this. If someone is handcuffed and constrained and they're beating their head, they're how would I say this?
Their
Unconscious.
self-harm risk.
Yeah. So they don't understand the harm they're causing themselves,
Incoherent.
but they're incoherent. They continue to bash the head of concrete. So what do we do to cause restraint? If we don't have a chair, then we have to take physical intervention. So I hold your head. Now, I can see cases where, let's say Brittany's holding Matthew. She's got a big physical disadvantage to him. So she has to exert all of her force to constrain him. Now, what about if she constricts his airway and doesn't understand because she's at maximum physical exertion? She restricts her airway, his airway. Okay, now he's calmed down. So I must be applying the appropriate amount of force. Now, does she stop and risk harm to herself, or does she continue to apply the same amount of force? Unknowingly, she's restricted his airway. Now she murders him. So at some point, anytime we draw a line on anything in society, we take a little fine marker and we draw this line. On this side, someone loses. On this side, someone loses. That line is awfully wide and wavy depending on genetics, physical makeup, strength, scenario, drug intoxication, alcohol. It's so easy for us to sit here and say, this is the portion where the rule applies. Mm-hmm. And on this side, someone loses. On this side, someone loses.
Yeah, and that's why we have things like cameras that record.
Well, if you
these
look
kind
at
of
it now,
altercations.
But
you
if
can
she
put these
murdered
cameras
him,
on.
Camera or not.
So if I line up in front of him, he's drunk, and I say, I'm going to fight you. I'm a little smaller. We're going to go knuckles up, motherfucker. She lines up in front of him, and he's drunk. She's pulling her gun and shooting him. Is that murder? No, she felt she was at a leverage disadvantage that she needed the mechanical advantage to overcome the situation.
like if he
Now-
was personally attacking me. You know,
Now, if there,
Yeah.
to the
there
point
is
that I
no
fear
denying that they're
he would cause
corrupt,
damage to me.
murderous police in society.
If you have a gun and they don't, you probably shouldn't use your gun. Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Unless he trusts,
Police are in a
he could
completely
kill me
police are in
because
such a different
he could.
situation. If someone kicked that door in right now and was here to harm anyone, I have a gun and I would
we
use deadly force to make them exit the property.
There
As
would
soon
be
as
a
the-
warning.
Regardless of what
Okay,
they
well,
have.
There
this
would
isn't
be a warning.
100%. That is 100% different than a cop at work.
Yeah. No. Here's where I'm gonna.
That is 100% different.
Here's where I'm gonna extend.
Because I totally agree with you. Right. In that instance, I would shoot them too.
Here's where I'm gonna
If I'm
extend
a
this
cop
thought.
who has went to work to protect and serve, you should not be shooting people.
So someone walks
If
in.
the crime that they are committing is punishable by death, I'm
Okay.
okay with it.
But
Let me-
they're
let me-
not
how
the
did
judge.
I-
They're
if
not
you-
the judge and jury at
If
that
you pulled
moment.
somebody over
so.
for a seatbelt and they tell you that they have a CHL and you shoot them 7 times,
Let me ask this.
Philandro Castle is the name
it's
who
a-
got shot. Fuck that cop.
So here,
a
Amber
personal
Geiger,
safety.
the chick who in Dallas who went into somebody's house and
I
shot
was
him while he was
always
sitting in the
taught that
chair.
you need to get your wallet, leave your wallet and your phone, where you right there.
Or have it out before
Have
the
it
cop
out.
gets there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
then
common
I preach
sense.
this. I preach this all the
I was
time.
in uniform and got questioned.
If she puts a firearm in her deal, your wallet should be right next to your gear shift, not in your purse in the floorboard, because then you
Yeah.
totally eliminate. But let me ask you this about this: if I'm a civilian and someone kicks this door in with a machete and he's fucking chopping shit up, and even if he was to hit you,
Well, we're talking about cops, not civilians.
I know, but I'm going to bridge into this. Okay, I've got to set.
But this is a really hard bridge to cross.
I've got to set example A before example B can be set, okay? If someone was to come in with a machete and hit you with a machete, cause you grave bodily harm, before I have my firearm out, they've threatened your life, right? So I have the right to shoot them at that point. Now, I get my gun out, but they're running out the door, not presenting a life-threatening threat to anyone. Can I shoot them in the back?
Yeah.
No, not in the state of Texas.
No,
You cannot,
We would
because
go-
no
we would be
one's life
arrested.
is at threat anymore. The threat has
Read the books.
left. Now the same exact thing. Now he's running through my yard across the street. And he's heading to the neighbor's house. As a civilian, I can't shoot them because I can't guarantee that he's going to risk their lives. A police officer is in a different situation. He has to consider the possibility of him going in that house and taking someone hostage,
Doing the same thing to somebody
and
else than you do you.
taking the threat to them. When someone runs around the corner, right before they round the corner, the police officer has to take into consideration that he's going to offer threat to the next person that he encounters. As a civilian, that's not my job.
It's black and white for us. It's great.
That was a guy just the other day.
So
So
it's-
we're talking about apples to oranges again.
No,
Now-
there was a guy just the other day, and
Because
if
I'm
I can
talking
find it,
about-
I'll
If a
show
police
you.
officer is
Because I'm
saying,
talking about cops murdering people who didn't do anything to deserve to be murdered, and y'all are talking about cops murdering people who are
If a
killing
cop
people
shoots a
probably-
guy, or a man or a woman, whatever you want to call it, there's more than likely a reason. Now, there's been a couple
Definitely not.
instances.
You can't say more than likely at all.
yeah, it's
There's
You
been,
can't.
there's
I
been,
mean,
there's been instances
No, there's
where
been a lot
shit's
more-
been done
there's-
wrong.
There's questionable actions for sure.
I'm
but
not saying
absolutely.
there's not shitty
Yeah,
cops.
we're
Dick.
not disagreeing with you completely.
Just like everybody at this table, we all have bad judgment issues. There's you can't. It's impossible to take every dude that joins a police academy and know that this motherfucker's not
like their
not a
ego's
good judge
not
of
gonna get
character.
away from them. They're gonna be like,
Yes,
they're
there
not
are
gonna-
bad
fucking
cops, but
police
you're not
bitch.
gonna tell me cops are bad motherfuckers.
or they don't make a mistake. You know,
Yeah,
that's a,
absolutely.
Mistake
there's a
seven,
human
we're still
error.
humans. And if you
Yeah.
do believe that, Dick, I do love you. I've known you a long time. And after this podcast, we will still be friends. And after this argument, we will still be friends. But if you firmly believe that cops are murderers, cops are bad people, blah, 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 I hope a day comes that you need one and there's not one there to help
Well,
you, or there is and he doesn't help
If
you.
you back 10 minutes up, you'll hear where I said
He had
that
family
my
that's-
family
Yeah.
are cops.
Yeah.
There's 7 of them.
the deal is.
Well,
as
then
soon-
you don't say the word cops
It
are
can be a
murderers.
So instead of-
I can,
yeah.
I can definitely
like-
say that there are murderer
Well,
cops.
That would mean one
There
cop
are-
murdered one
but
person,
there-
and you could say that.
it's
but
a blanket effect.
I never said all.
Yeah.
but you're focusing on
You say-
cops
if you say
murdering
cops,
people.
If you say
If you
cops
say
are
there
You have to
murderers,
say
that are
some
murderers,
cops.
that's the thing.
No.
There's some.
then there
So
are
there
cops
are
that are
cops.
murderers.
some cops
There are
are.
cops that
Some
are
cops.
murderers.
That is a
which I've said
statement.
every
Some
time.
cops
That's-
are.
I'm pretty big
There's
on my
there's some
words.
goats that are
Really
murderers.
talking to an
There are
English
some
major.
dogs that are
Pretty big
murderers.
on words.
There are some chainsaws
Yeah.
that are murderers.
There are cops that are murderers.
And there are
That's
cops.
I've said every time.
There are cops that are heroes, and you
Yeah.
never mentioned that. All you said is cops
Well,
are
we weren't
murderers.
talking about like the time
We're talking
my
about
uncle went
cops
into a
and
burning
murderers,
down
which is
bus and
much
saved 4
lower of
people.
percentage
Can
of
I talk-
interaction.
Yeah, there's always time
Can
for
I talk
cops.
about ways that they are trying to help this out? So, we pretty much went with us. The cops call us for assistance, especially when it comes to K2. They're not doing anything. They're not tasing them. They're not doing anything. They're coming to us for us to handle it. So either we give them a sedative or we chemically restrain them so they don't hurt themselves or hurt anybody else. So used to they could tase them or, like that excited delirium. We've heard about that where that ended up killing people. Like they would tase them or they would do whatever because these people are outside of their minds with these drugs that they were taking. So now they're taking more precaution and they're calling the ambulance. For us to come handle it, we're giving them a sedative to calm them down, to slow their heart rate down so they don't end up in cardiac arrest and don't end up dying. They get in our care, then we send them to ER care till the drugs out of their system. They're actually,
Talking to your microphone.
there's more precautions being taken.
They're handling
now,
it better.
which is
They've
a lot-
learned. They've
They've
and-
learned that you can't just because he's on something, you
And we
can't
can
just
only
attack
speak
him.
and she can only speak for the police officer she comes across.
Yeah.
The bigger and some of the bigger issue is look.
All I'm saying is cops shouldn't shoot people
No,
who
It's
aren't acting violently.
But they don't know if they're armed.
no,
they
you
don't.
know
There's
if
a lot
somebody's
of.
acting violently. If somebody's shooting, fucking shoot them. It's not
Someone
rocket
doesn't have to be
science.
acting
I'm
violent.
talking
They
about
just
people
pull a
without
weapon.
weapons.
So
like
if I had a firearm on me right now,
and I had
and
a
I was
knife.
to draw it and shoot you in the chest, was I acting violently 1 second before I shot you in the chest?
Probably not.
Okay, so if I'm just sitting
Okay,
here,
well, we
boom, Matthew's seen me.
It's all
I can
subjective.
I can take a gun from a concealed position and put rounds effectively on target in about 3/4 of a second, give or take, and good.
I've seen faster.
I've seen faster
Twice.
So does that mean that I was acting violently to you before then?
Like this was a very civil conversation. We've all stayed very civil. I told you I still loved you, but because the wordplay was a little different. But
but I
he
knew
could have
what
been
you
taking
meant.
offense this entire time.
Because I
and
could have said "fuck you," boom.
yeah,
finally
but there would
snapped.
have probably
There's not always.
It'd been proven as
There's
point.
not always cues.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're proving my point more.
Yeah.
here.
No, because
But
you
keep
couldn't
going.
shoot me until I act violently towards you.
Okay, well then when
So
you
you would
act
be
violently
dead.
towards me, then a cop should probably stop that.
So you would be dead
The
before
cop
there
should
was
But the
stop-
cop's already
the cop
dead.
Should stop you.
The cop's
Am I
already
the cop?
dead.
Am I the cop?
They
in
Yeah,
this?
just
you're
have,
the cop.
They have
You
a
can't-
split
you
second
can't-
judgment call.
You can't react to me until I present violence to
You have
someone.
You have to anticipate
that's fair.
violence always.
The first act of violence you see is the end of my gun in a flash.
We
Then-
need to
Too
show
late.
that video of that girl
Well,
cop
then in
getting
most
like
situations, there's a-
destroyed by bullets because she's scared to pull her gun.
Yeah.
Here's
And then the other dude rolled up and he's like, "Pow pow." See, like,
Yeah.
good job for him. Like, he saved her fucking life.
So one person-
like, that's definitely a situation where he probably should have used.
So
his
an
gun.
officer has to die for a criminal to live? That makes no sense. Like
The
what you're
criminal
saying.
didn't live.
What you're saying is that a cop should not shoot someone unless they've been acted violently upon.
I'm saying a
one
cop should
act
not
of
shoot
violence
if there's not shots or murders.
so they have to be shot at before they can shoot.
But
is
here-
basically what you're
yeah,
saying.
like our soldiers have to be shot at before they shoot. Why do our cops get to
No,
shoot?
No,
your
they don't.
soldiers,
Yes, they
trains,
fucking
and everyone
do.
are
No.
trained to
Not
interact.
Not in
they
combat.
have to be told they can shoot.
Well,
do
they've
not?
got orders
I
to
don't-
go ahead
I
on
do-
a
The
mission.
rules of
When I was
rules
getting
of engagement.
When you
though.
were when
Yeah,
like,
but it's not being shot at. If you perceive a threat to bodily
our
harm,
our soldiers have to be told, "Hey, you can shoot."
So if
why
I'm,
do our cops not have to be told, "Hey, you can shoot"?
but they're told that they can shoot under the circumstances.
They
Now
have
the
to
ones
fucking
that,
It's
defend
the rules of
themselves.
the ones that break those.
If our soldiers are in another country in a war and they have to wait for word to shoot, then our cops that are in our country that are just driving around.
But the words
doing some
are
bullshit.
So we're talking about like what is legal and written. The words that's written through the academy and your training are what tell you to shoot. Now all of those change per department, all that stuff. But the deal is, if you only shoot when your life is in danger, like you can
Short
see
career.
it happen.
Short
career. But I mean, I can take you up against some guys that like I could.
well, bring them.
like
Like,
right-
debate them.
Right now, I could give us all airsoft guns and say you're the police officer and we're only the bad guys. You're the police officer, and you can only touch your weapon when you perceive a threat to you. You're gonna be like, "Fuck you!" My hands on my gun all the time.
I
'cause I'm
didn't
gonna
say only
blow
a
it
threat
up.
to me.
You said it has to be shot at before shooting.
But here's the deal:
That's the most ignorant
It's
shit
the
I've ever
rules of
heard.
engagement. that we're
get
talking
being
about.
shot at and a perceived threat. Look at the difference here. If I'm gonna fight him, I'm gonna say, "Okay, I'm gonna go nuts up, bro." She's gotta fight him. She's gonna say, "Fuck you! I'm not touching you. I'm
Well,
gonna
she
shoot
probably
you."
shouldn't fight him.
Take her as a cop.
But if she's a cop and she is
She has no
forced
choice.
to,
Coming up to the scene that
If
I'm
he's
the
a t-
one.
if he's
being
she's the
like,
called.
only
bam,
one in the
bam,
alleyway.
bam,
She
bam,
chooses to use
bam,
deadly
and
force
all I have
sooner
is
than
that.
someone else does. You can't draw just a line in the sand and say
Don't
119
call
pound
radios.
119-pound woman is
Calling
the
back up.
All right.
But
Okay.
it
Calling
takes
back
an
up.
average
Okay,
of
go
5
in.
to
For
7
example,
minutes. For
he's-
the backup
look,
to get
he
there.
is
I'm
beating-
dead.
Put yourself
He-
in the line of danger.
he is beating him to death.
Don't
She's the
put
only
your-
one
Don't
there.
put yourself in a position where you have an excuse to shoot somebody.
Oh, what happened to
That's-
protect? I'm fucking
I already
his face.
established that protect is not a thing. Protect was established by the Supreme Court. They do not have to protect.
I'm fucking
They
his
don't have
face.
to, but they
don't
can
have
choose to.
They
If
can
he's
choose
beating the
to, but they don't have to.
if he's beating shit out of him to death and she's the first one on scene,
Mm-hmm.
she's radioing backup. It's not there. He is gonna die unless she intervenes.
I mean, I'll tase
Would
him.
you suggest her to go in physical altercation or just shoot him in the back of the head?
I would probably rather see the murderer go to trial like our.
No, it doesn't matter.
judiciary
Oh,
He
said.
dies.
How's she gonna get me to trial?
Yeah, he dies,
She's
or
gonna call back up, right?
the innocent
But it's
dies,
not
or
there.
the non-innocent
Either-
dies.
What do you-
Gonna
Look,
die.
At this instant,
If she doesn't
at this
stop me.
instance, he dies or he dies because she's going to pull the trigger or not. Which
Why
one?
does anybody have to die?
Because he will die if she doesn't
Matthew's
intervene.
He-
gonna kill Cooter.
Yes, he's going to
Okay,
beat
so
him
he's
to fucking death.
definitely murdering him.
Beating
Yes.
his fucking face
Yeah,
in.
then probably shoot Matthew in that situation.
But it's
That's
so
what I've
fu-
been saying the whole
It's
time.
so fluid.
But I'm not causing you any harm. Why shoot me?
I never said
Yeah.
you had to be causing the cop physical harm.
I don't have a gun. I don't have a
That's not what it
knife.
says.
I don't have
Are
anything.
you preventing? Are you perpetrating an act of violence? Because I'm
Your
pretty sure what I said
exact
is
words
stop
earlier were,
violence
if
with
not
violence.
being shot at, don't shoot.
No,
You
my,
agree
my
that each
exact
situation
words
is
were
its own,
violence
though.
should be
No,
with
your
violence.
exact words were cops with guns should not shoot people without guns.
Yeah, that was one of my things. Definitely.
So he doesn't have a gun, but he's inflicting deadly bodily harm on
Does he have
someone.
like a nightstick or a taser?
No,
his
he
fist.
is
He has-
beating
no,
someone's
no, cops
head.
Say
definitely
you-
have nightsticks. Cops definitely have tasers. They definitely have measures
Say
that
you
can
taser
be taken.
me.
So,
away shot.
so listen to
130
this.
pounds
So
person.
beat his ass, tase him, then shoot him.
Okay, so you roll up.
They do
You
have protocol
roll up
steps.
on the baddest motherfucking MMA fighter in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and you say, "Hey, bud, can you stop punching him?" He says, "If I stop punching him, I'm going to beat you to fucking death."
And I'm gonna tase him because I have a taser.
You don't have
on
a
me.
taser. You're in
Cops
you're-
have tasers.
Not
What if-
all.
All of them. Yes,
not
they do.
no, not
That
all.
is like standard issue.
I promise you, not all do. I promise you, not all do.
I'm gonna argue with you on that one.
You're
I'm
wrong.
Pretty sure that's like a standard issue thing.
The smallest county in the whole United States that has the smallest
Can't
tag
afford
funding.
a taser.
There are some police officers in the United States that don't have bulletproof vests.
Good for them.
No.
So they don't have bulletproof
even the
vests,
odds,
but you
or what are we
think they're going to have a taser too? No, it's not standard
Pretty
issue.
sure a taser's probably cheaper than a bulletproof vest.
No.
You know how much one round? You know how much it costs if you pull the trigger on a taser?
$100
$100
Matthew,
taser on
right?
the internet right now.
That's not a taser. That's
Even a
a
security
stun
guard.
gun. A taser is something that shoots barbs out. The standard issue is the X28. It's probably more than that now. They're about $3,000. You can go online right now and buy soft body armor for about $400. Now, if you want to move up to rifle ready plates, you're talking about $700.
Okay, well, what does it take to like? I'm pretty sure there's.
Let me
like,
ask you
we
this.
definitely know how
Shoots
many
out
volts
barbs.
it takes to stop a person from moving. Like we know that there's like a point where you're gonna see.
Well,
that-
actually,
actually
if
isn't
both
different.
if both barbs hit here, you don't incapacitate. You have to put electricity through the spinal cord, which is why they shoot for center mass, and one barb goes high and one goes low. So it sends electricity through the spinal cord, which affects the nervous system of all extremities, and that's
Pretty
when
much
you get
have a
that.
Caesar.
Yeah.
Well, here's
But if
another
you
thing.
miss,
You
and then we're still talking about Brittany as the cop. Matthew is the assailant. Him as the victim. He's inflicting deadly harm on him. Brittany comes up. You're saying she should use non-deadly force to try to
Which is
uh,
subdue
fine.
someone who
I
is
understand that.
larger than her.
First
I don't
step.
have a problem with that.
First
Yeah.
step. First
But-
I
step.
would much rather see Matthew
line
go
of
to
defense.
jail, or well, not go to jail because I don't really believe in jail. I would much rather see Matthew get executed after going through the judicial system
And that's
than
fine.
her. Okay, no, not even that.
But you put
If the crime being committed is punishable by death, I am okay with a cop killing the person for it.
but assault.
If a cop
assault
pulls
with
somebody
bodily
over,
harm.
again, I'm going to go back to the Philandro Castle case because this is a very well documented case. He was pulled over for not giving a turn signal. Said to the officer, "I have a CHL. Here is my bat."
Yeah.
Fuck that cop. That cop just committed.
Okay, I would agree that yes, if that's the way it happened, which I've seen some footage on that, I don't keep up with this too much because media is so skewed, and who knows how that footage.
I haven't seen one yet that incriminated the officer. To be honest with you,
So way
I've
I
seen
feel
non-compliance
if,
by the person.
if I'm a police officer
With the
and
excited delirium I have.
If-
but that's,
yeah.
That's it.
if I'm a police officer and I roll up on a situation and I say suspect comply, they say no, either verbally or through their actions. They refuse that. I say suspect comply,
They've
and they
already
refuse
fucked
again. And I say suspect comply. If you'll disregard me to the extent where I say, hey, let's just start fucking acting reasonable and get our shit together so we can talk. I can only assume that you're okay with fucking
With
killing
dying.
me.
Well,
With
have
dying.
you just committed a crime that was murder or murder or murder?
In the
Because-
same sense, this is what I'm about to bring up right before we ended this. So, back to what we were just talking about. She uses deadly or non-deadly force, which I'm not against that. Pull that taser out.
In
light
the
that
right
motherfucker
Let
up.
that be the
But
first line.
fine,
If
let
you have
that be
time.
the first line of defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Say
Have
she
a
hits
wa-
me.
Yeah,
And
okay.
that's
Say it
probably
hits
most
me.
protocols.
I'm in line with this.
Say it hits me. She tasers the fuck out of me, which is well deserved if I'm beating a man to death or just whooping the shit out of him, and she knows if I turn around on her, she's in big trouble.
She's not. Yeah.
She tasers me, hits just right, or I have some weird heart condition I don't know about. I drop dead on the spot.
Yeah.
That goes across CNN as cop kills man with
During
taser.
excessive force used.
And
That's-
people like you say, another cop murdered a
Nope,
motherfucker.
wrong. People like me say first protocol was taser. That person died.
No,
Yeah.
because I've heard you say it once already tonight. Tasered him to death.
Yeah, choked him. Look,
Excited delirium.
Okay, but we're
I mean,
not.
That they
so
died
if
from
a
the
police officer
excessive
walked in
taser.
the door, guns drawn, and I was like, comply, comply, comply.
He has no right to do that.
But
We-
So
you don't
you-
have to argue that.
you
if
instant-
we could probably
comply,
shoot him and say "fuck you" for coming
You
into our
instantly
property.
stand up, flip the table over, and just start saying fighting him. No, you just go, okay.
If
There's
you
some.
come in my house with a gun drawn, I'm gonna be like, "Why the fuck?"
Guys,
did you
There's
come
some
in my house?
confusion.
The thing is, not one size fits all. Everything
Yeah.
is
It's
subjective.
different.
there's,
No
there's
matter-
But here-
no
Every
line.
situation
what-
is different.
there is one option to all this that fixes everything. Be respectful to police officers.
Yes.
Don't argue and don't put
No,
yourself in
I agree with
excessive
that
harm.
100%.
Don't be an asshole.
And if that happens
Show
and you're
your
doing everything
ID.
you're supposed to do, then
So-
the cop did something wrong.
Exactly.
As much as
And
you
has
can-
there been a documented, case of that where someone did every single thing a cop asked and still died? Has there been one?
no.
Yes.
No.
No.
They're in a
Yes.
fucking
I
Eat
don't-
a
chance.
bag of dicks. No.
Yes.
There
They
is
might
not
have
a
been
fucking chance.
disrespected,
Yes.
but they didn't die.
Someone in their own right mind,
Not on drugs.
not intoxicated, incoherent,
Like
or
Kolt.
altered, has complied with every action an officer says, and they got shot still, there's not a fucking thing out there.
This is probably one of the biggest assholes who does not give two fucks to change his demeanor.
He has no political.
Well,
like,
he doesn't care.
perspective.
He's
He
going
don't
to
give a
say what he
fuck.
wants to say because that's who he is, and I don't disregard it. And I'm a
he's-
pretty big asshole too, but I've never seen one who
Okay.
don't give two
July
fucks.
But you don't have to
be
be
disrespectful
because
to a
he
cop.
knows you're putting
He's
yourself
not
at an
stupid.
immediate risk if you do not comply
Alright.
with an
Look,
officer's.
I've been on the.
I've already pulled it up right here. The case I was looking for, July 17, 2014. Eric Garner died in New York City on Staten Island after telling the cops, "Hey, you're choking me. I can't breathe."
But what led
What
up
was
to
the
him
reason
being
to the
choked?
choking?
And like you said, that's a
Was he
situation.
resisting arrest? That's automatic failure in the scenario I'm talking
you're
about.
going back into this whole thing over here where you're talking about a bigger person over a smaller cop.
I'm
where you
talking
had
about
a
compliance.
400-pound
Why
man
was he being
and-
choked out?
Just-
I'm talking about officer compliance.
Yeah, why did
No
the,
resisting arrest,
if-
no fleeing, no
If you
disrespectful.
told your mama no, my mom would fucking swing a belt or whatever the hell she had.
Mommy,
wherever
you're
she
spanking
could.
me too
Now,
hard.
that's
you,
all.
You don't ever get into the chokehold of a police officer because you said, "Yeah, let me comply with you exactly
Yeah,
the way
a
you want."
coherent person
I've-
that is
Tell my
just
mom
truly
no, or I roll my
disrespectful.
eyes and say,
Look, there's six-
disrespectful.
look,
New
there's-
York, New York Police Department officers approached Eric Garner on suspicion of selling single cigarettes from packs without.
So you're
packs.
getting into
Illegal.
the backstory.
Illegal.
Which is
You're
illegal.
getting into the backstory,
Broke
though.
the
That
law.
doesn't matter.
You broke the law.
That's not punishable by death.
Listen,
It doesn't
the
matter.
backstory doesn't
Did he,
matter.
That
did he
isn't-
comply?
but the-
Did he comply?
During the
process
interaction
was-
with police,
okay,
did he comply?
Okay, now you're getting back into this
Do-
400-pound man versus 135
Do what's asked
woman.
of you first
What is
time.
compliance?
That's
No.
compliance.
Look,
do what's asked of
the
you.
six
Doing
people.
what the cop asked.
That's
of
a
the,
epitome
of the
of
six
compliance.
people sitting at this table, I've been on the other end of a drawn firearm from a police officer. There's two of us actually. Me and Colt both sitting in a pickup with Cody Creighton. We were going to a motocross track when
It's
we were
not
still
even on.
when we were still in high school.
Oh, no,
I can hear
you
it.
can't hear it?
No, I meant you were. It's not filming, is it?
I've
Yeah,
had,
we're
I've
filming.
had guns
Oh.
pulled on me
Oh, we
So-
need immediate reset.
Just so
Hold on, let me finish this. So, of the six people sitting here, two of us sitting here have been at the end of drawn. What in this instance that I'm talking about has been on the end of drawn firearms from police officers. So, we were leaving the red light set in front of McKee's. Me, him, and Cody Creighton were going to a dirt bike track somewhere out of town, and we're just like driving along, and all of a sudden, like this fucking cop runs us off the road, and another one like slams up behind us, and they're like fucking roll your fucking window down, going crazy. And I'm
I
like,
remember this story.
oh fucking okay, I wasn't like,
Well, alrighty then.
I wasn't like, you don't have the fucking right
That'd be
to
roll the
to
window
do this or not.
Yeah.
If I'd have started going, oh fuck you, and started reaching underneath the seat to pull my phone out to start video, I would only assume that I'm about to get fucking shot because my hands aren't where the police officer's
That's a
at.
terrible spot for us to be in as Americans is to assume that our government employees
No,
can murder us.
respect your civil service agents.
So,
if
respect
you-
them, and this goes away.
If
No.
you're a police officer
Terrible.
and you only put your hand on
Wrong.
your firearm when you see my firearm, you've lost the fight. I promise you.
yeah,
You gotta look at it this way. Again, when I'm going back to the generation, we go 30 years ago, it wasn't that bad.
because people respected the cops.
People knew like
I
the
might pee my
process.
pants.
They knew the process. I mean, you back. I mean, look at like the black community. They're like,
If a police
"Son,
officer
you need-
says,
when a police
comply,
officer says, do this,
I don't give a
you
fuck
put your
where you are,
hands on
you
that
comply."
car, you do what you're supposed to do.
Probably not.
No
Until
matter
you
what
can
they
show
do.
him that you're not a suspect.
Yeah.
Because what about these said?
Prove it with your innocence. Like
Someone-
Someone walks up to
that's
me on the
completely
street.
it.
I'm just walking down the
And
street
then
and police
you-
officer
you
walks and
act
says, "Hey, comply
perfect,
with what I say."
it's their
I'm gonna tell
fault.
him no.
You don't know that he didn't get a call saying a bearded guy in a shitty shirt and khakis
don't give a
is
fuck
walking
what
around
doing
the
his
house.
job.
about.
Doing his job.
He's doing his job.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's that
Do you-
simple. He got a call that said, we're
He
on
has
6th
to
Street. There's
investigate.
some guy with a beard and a
So you're
plaid
just
shirt
gonna
on.
walk up, pull a gun out on me, and say, "Hey, get up against the wall."
Prove yourself
No.
innocent.
to
No.
Well,
investigate
then I
the
hope you
complaint.
get shot.
Innocent until proven guilty. I'm pretty sure that's part of the American
But
Constitution.
no,
No,
it's
it
guilty
doesn't
until
have-
proven innocent.
It
No,
doesn't
It
have-
definitely says that. It
Look,
definitely
it's-
says innocent until
That's
proven
talking about the
guilty.
court of
In
law.
the court
In
of
the
law.
court.
Yeah.
Not on 6th Street at 2 a.m.
Okay, well, I'm pretty sure that a cop's
and
job
Tudor.
is to get people to court.
Because they will no,
Pretty
but
sure that's a thing.
the deal is they
Then
will
comply. He'll get you to court.
and then that's
Be a
where you prove your
dickhead.
innocence.
Be a dickhead in the middle of the street when he's
So if
gotten a
you
call
shoot
about some.
him, because there are plenty of cases where cops just walk up, bam, 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 They don't give them a chance to comply. They don't.
They
do
don't
any
shoot
of
them in
their
the back.
protocol.
They don't go.
Oh, bullshit.
They don't ever say.
Bullshit.
They never say. They
think
never
what-
shoot you in the back before they ask for
never
your
say
name.
the
Never.
word- Do not ever
I'm trying to
say
be
the
a
word
mediator
never
here.
in
I
an
wouldn't say
actual
never.
debate again because that's,
I would greatly agree that no police officer, let's just say most police officer, has never shot any suspect before they spoke a verbal word.
Before there was face-to-face
Yeah.
contact.
If you're walking down Sixth Street, and they've got a description of someone just murdered someone with curly hair and a beard and some sort of a plaid button-up shirt, they don't ever shoot you before they say, "Hey."
Freeze. Stop.
You've lost your fucking mind.
Put your
Dick,
hands
if you
up.
think that's a true statement.
There's verbal cues that are
pretty
that
sure.
people do
If
not comply to.
if they get a suspect,
on a
if they get a call and says someone
They
curly
have to
hair,
say it.
beard, and a plaid shirt murdered someone, and they say, "Hey, bud, can we talk for a second?" And the first thing you do is run. You
or go
admit
no
guilt.
fucking way.
Yeah.
Okay, well then stop him without bullets and bring him to court where we have a court that establishes his
It's
guilt.
not that
Yeah,
simple.
but
That
you'd
sounds
be
so
that
easy.
you'd be that same
So
dude.
you're saying that the cop is
even
judge,
if
jury,
they
and
stopped
executioner.
him and
Is
it
that
was
what you're
on
saying?
camera.
Are you
No.
saying that our cops have
You're
the
saying-
right of judge, jury, and
you're saying the
executioner?
You
cops-
have to give yourself the ability to get to jury and executioner.
No, it is their job. They
It's-
signed up
You
for
know,
that.
like-
First
bullshit.
and foremost, the job
They
of the police
should do
officer
what it
to
takes
go
to
home.
We're not
that
going to
night.
have
Jury and
police officer
executioner.
anymore.
Yeah, no,
It's
no.
just going to be that way.
Would you? Would anybody be an
sounds like a pretty
officer?
great idea to me, honestly.
Officer-
I went 2
Then
months
what
in Red River
happens-
County without
what
police
happens-
officers, and it was awful.
Then what happens
For me,
is
it was
you
awful.
fight people like me with firearms. I promise you fucking lose.
I could not carry a
Okay,
firearm
so
as
does
an
the
EMS
person who tries to fight somebody like you with a firearm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if
So
there's
how
if
about
there's
you
no
how about you let citizens defend themselves?
I had a
on their
man
own
chase
property?
me down with the firearm.
If you
and I
can't,
couldn't do anything
defend
about
yourself
it.
or your own property, then don't go into a line of work that requires you to defend yourself.
but that doesn't equal out because
means don't walk
what
down
about
the
if the
street.
baddest motherfucker says I'm taking Lamar
I can't
County?
defend myself.
They got a tank and a deuce and a half and a machine gun. They're like, just fuck you.
Well, then we better hope we have some people that can stop them.
It's irrational
Oh,
thinking.
you mean all these cops you're talking about?
No.
That's unfortunate because
No,
they
it's-
ain't fucking helping you.
I would no. It sounds like citizens.
So, as you can probably tell, there's only 5 of us left. One of them didn't. One of the guys didn't pace himself as well.
He,
We
needed,
hey.
he said he needed a nap.
No shit. We lost him in Vegas too the first night.
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
Mexico.
it's all a new thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's the new. It hasn't
It's
wore
the
off
first
yet.
time.
The
So-
first night he
The
doesn't
second
taste
night, we're
himself.
gonna be better.
You know, so there were 6 of us, 5 of us now, and one thing I definitely want to say that look, we've all known each other for a long time, and whatever our individual opinions are, we
didn't
respect
affect our
each other.
We're all having fun.
It's
We're
a
all having
conversation.
fun, and
It's the way it should be.
We're all going to be here again next weekend doing the same thing. And
in
love each other as much as we do
conversation
right
is
now.
what's important in the country today. I see far too many times that people say, have you ever seen the deal where one guy's standing on one side of a 6 and the other guy sees a 9?
Yeah.
It's about your perspective. And look, the ability to talk about these topics is what is important. And at the end of the day, we turn the microphones off and we are all still friends. That's what's important.
My
Well,
favorite
in the
people
time-
to have around me are people that have different views than mine because it makes me think about what I'm thinking already.
Yeah.
You know, like
So if no one's testing you, I think you just get in this rut.
yeah.
And there's nothing black or white.
I
So
try to
there's
say-
like
I try to
there's
say-
no
Absolutely.
caveats to each argument that damn this could be better, but
I
there's
really
you know,
try to surround myself with more like way more conservative people.
Yeah,
than
because
I
as
am.
soon as you get in a group, you just live in this little bubble.
Well, if I get around other liberals, I'm like, God damn! Like, why do
What?
y'all think this?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? But
I
I,
wanna-
get around I get around conservative people, and I'm like, hold on, I really like this conversation.
I want to
Let's
take a
continue
second and say to you, from the bottom of my heart, the person that you were talking about a while ago that died from police brutality, if the facts say that it's police brutality, I feel for you. You know, I've lost friends and family to war or to health care or whatever the fact is. I feel for that. And I hope this is a platform that we can all talk about freely and maybe educate, learn ourselves, and progress as human beings. That's what's important.
Well, see, I think the interesting thing there is the case we were talking about earlier with Graham. Like, it is on a national level right now pushing reform.
Yeah.
Like,
And I feel that way because that's one case, like I said, that's hit home for me. I've been the type for all this time we got to back the police because I don't want to live in a society where we don't. See how that seems so poor, so down to me that the people that are put in place to protect that you've got to feel like they're not there to. That hurts. That hurts me. Like thinking of medical personnel stuff. You go in the hospital thinking you're going to get taken care of, and if you're not, then that's a horrible place to be. So I would rather assume we're not there. But that is one case in particular because Mr. Dyer is my teacher and everyone else.
Yeah.
But and there are some issues there where there were definitely excessive force used. There were things that were a failure to rescue, and there were some incidences there that. I don't think that the cops necessarily thought that he would end with death. I thought they thought we're going to have our way, we're going to do this, and it was wrong. But then the death was the result.
It wasn't
and
protocol.
The problem
that is
there,
horrible.
though, is that they have video, they have audio of the cops.
Yeah,
While they're tasing him,
doing
on his
inappropriate
balls,
things
on his balls,
for certain.
not tasing him like in the ribs or like in the
Yeah.
arm.
It
Like
was-
literally putting the taser to his nuts and saying, "I'm gonna kill you, motherfucker."
Extremely malicious.
That is the verbatim
it was
quote.
not
I will
appropriate.
kill you, motherfucker.
And that's something we all stated actually from the get-go was
We all
yes,
agree
there
with you
are
that
bad
was-
cops.
Yeah.
There
Those
are
cop-
bad cops.
Those
but
cops should be in prison for murder.
But cops
those
in general are not
Absolutely.
bad
not even
people.
cops anymore.
Yeah.
Those person.
But
That
to
that
reiterate
person,
on what Chase said, I think even Chase or Dick said it outside. He was a little surprised about how heated I got about it. He was expecting to fire Kolt up a little bit. But in the same sense, we've had pretty heated conversation throughout this deal, and I've gotten emotional about it. But then we stood outside, smoked a cigarette, and continued to just have a conversation.
Yeah.
I
And
still
that-
love Dick at the end of the day. I
Well,
don't
even-
mind debate. I don't mind
That's what the
argument.
country
It's-
needs to look
I mean,
at
even
is
though we don't see each other
it's-
every
Yeah.
day, like you've
Not
been one of my closest
unfollow or
friends for
delete
15
people
Yeah, no,
because
it's
of
not
these
a-
things. Just
so we live in a
accept
society.
we're different, and different is good. Different.
We live
beautiful.
in a society where there's more information available at our hands
Than ever.
any
than
time in the
ever.
half.
We
Now-
have all the wealth of human knowledge.
Yeah,
right here.
at our fingertips.
Every single bit of it
now,
is right here.
something that
It's
we
just, do
can
you want to Google it or not?
something that is a curse to society and a benefit is we're divided in our viewpoints. So one half looks at one information, one half looks at another. Well, if we say, well, I only see a 6 and I only see a 9, then we can never look together and come up with a
We
common
should just be
ground.
looking
You
for
remember
69.
Yeah.
I'm down for a 69.
Hey. Well, you remember the dress picture. Do you see black or do you see black?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, that's just it. Half society saw black, half said white. Well, you're fucking wrong. No,
So,
you're
yeah.
fucking wrong. And then we can't be friends because you see
Yeah.
white and I see black.
Well, the problem
That's-
is we've
individual perception.
Yeah,
We've
who
had-
cares?
Since the last presidential election, because it really wasn't prevalent until 2016, but we've had such a strong division in our politics lately of, oh, I'm conservative, oh, you're liberal, oh, I'm a Democrat, oh, you're Republican.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah,
Bush
why aren't we
administration,
still- why aren't we
in the
still
Obama and the Clinton, it wasn't, I'm a Democrat, you're a Republican.
I do feel
But-
that way too. When I remember being in high school and middle school, it was like Bill Clinton was a Democrat, but it didn't feel like such a division.
No.
But if you look after about Clinton, when Bush took it, administration, it was Republican. Then what come right after it?
It was a Democrat.
Hardcore Democrat.
Hard
So
Democrat.
America kind of says we fucked up. We're going the opposite
Well,
way.
the thing is,
you
though,
know?
you have the people at the very top. You have Trump, who, when he gets on the microphone, he says, the Democrat, or crooked Hillary, or red China, or blue
it's the-
this.
it's the
He
same
makes a
throughout.
Point, he makes a point to...
It's
to-
both sides. Well, hold on. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, Trump does.
Look
do
at the
that.
Speaker of the
100% I
House.
guarantee. But listen to Hillary speak.
Oh,
Listen
yeah,
to
well-
any of them speak. It's so directed now. There is no just Trump said this. It's the Republican
the
Party
Democrats,
said
the
this, or blah, blah.
Republicans.
Yeah,
And
it's,
And he's
it's
obvious,
very-
and he's essentially the most moderate person that's been in office in terms. I mean,
He's very-
he has backed Democrats.
He's very
in the past,
moderate at the
and
end of the
he's-
day. If you look at what his policies are, he's not doing bad things. But when
No,
you look
but
at
he's
how he presents
scornful.
himself,
His Twitter
Look,
king.
and
scornful.
how he
He's a
says
smartass.
things,
He doesn't seem very educated.
Well,
he does
that's the
not.
deal.
He makes
Very
makes himself
social
look bad. He
media.
Yeah.
puts his own foot in his mouth daily.
Honestly.
And when you are at the highest position in the world, because let's be honest about it, no matter what
you can
look
say
at,
whatever the fuck you
the
want.
U.S.
technically.
presidency is the highest position in the world. You should present yourself as
What did it do?
That
We were just
Trump's
saying that
actually
yes,
pretty
Trump-
conservative, honestly, but
He is,
he's
but
scornful. That's his
he
downfall.
says dumb
He's
shit.
scornful.
yeah, he says
What
dumb
fucking
shit.
gets me is like I think Secretary of Defense or some defense mechanisms we're talking about that Iraq, the Middle East, or whatever was still a threat. And he said, he says, I kind of think possibly they're wrong. Maybe. It's like, what the fuck? Now, look, I want to say this. In a modern society, to have the fact that we have a popularity contest on who fucking has, I don't think the president has the.
That's what he has personally turned it into, though.
Yeah.
You didn't have these problems with the Obama. Or
He's invoked
Bush
social
or-
media aspect
He
and
needs
different
to stick
stuff.
to his business
Yeah.
aspect.
Because he's not. I mean, he comes off as
and listen
unintelligent.
to his advisors.
But he's
not a-
obviously not unintelligent. I mean, you don't get
He
to
obviously
the status he is.
He is
I think
unintelligent.
I think
He's a good
governmentally he is
businessman.
unintelligent.
He
Yeah,
is
you don't-
But
very
He's a good
business, as a
businessman.
businessman,
Politically,
he's
he's
not.
retarded.
Real
Hey,
estate
can I get a little
agent?
more mic?
If you
On
look
my
at
one?
it in terms of real estate,
sounds like
which
it did
is where
earlier.
he made his money, he's a pretty
check.
fucking
Yeah, there
good
we go.
realtor.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But our government is not a fucking real estate agency.
But when you get on
My
that
mom-
stage,
my
When he,
stepmom
when he does
business.
that public talk, he
I
needs to
think
listen
as
to
a
his
businessman,
advisors
you
who
talk
are
dollars and
professionals.
cents with America. Trump's pretty smart, but when you start talking about foreign affairs,
Listen to
foreign
your
politics,
advisors.
listen to your advisors. The maybe I think stuff, and I think
Did
a little.
you see where just this
what
week
you pay them
he
for.
canceled all of his meetings with his political advisors
Yeah.
because he didn't agree with them?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and
They
I've seen
said, no,
I've
we're
seen
not
both.
doing any White House press secretaries this
He's
week. No.
immature.
I've seen both parties say we don't
Who's
politic
you?
by temper tantrums from
Says
the
me.
Democrats and the Republicans, and
That's what
the
you gotta look forward to when
Trump
you're 70
canceled Pelosi's
Fucking A.
flight, and Pelosi canceled
Gangster
his.
as hell,
And then
bro.
Melania
still
went on
getting
a
laid
flight
by women
2
like he's
hours
getting laid
later.
by-
Yeah.
Hey,
So
one thing
That
he
was the
does
funny
do,
thing about
if
that
he
to me.
says, "Hey, I'm gonna do this,"
he does do that.
it fucking happens. I'm not holding that against
Except
him.
for that wall.
Hey, no,
Hey.
he's trying. These
Hey, I
fucking
built-
dick cheeses won't give us the money.
I've built more walls than Trump this year.
Chase
Just
had a
saying.
Chase had a good point about we don't even need a wall. We need like a piece of paper that says we will fucking destroy
Fuck you up, because plain and simple, we can all probably come to some
and
agreement.
then
that
have one
the-
person.
the
as
only
an
way
example.
the only way that you don't do something is because you fear the consequences more than your actions. So if there was 800 million rednecks fucking lined up on the wall shooting people be like, okay, I'm not going to come across. Now, I completely agree that there are people that are in need of foreign aid. That's a fact. If I'm being oppressed or if my neighbor's fucking me up because I don't have as many resources as they do, I'm going to call someone because of that. But
And that's typically what we've done. We gave aid to Israel.
We
gave
give aid.
to Iran.
Yeah,
We're
I
helpful.
mean, we're not.
yeah,
But
We
if you
help,
look,
we
if
help
you
the
look at,
companies that, we help the companies that have oil.
you have to
yeah.
stop it.
Notice I said companies and not countries.
So I'm
We
going to
help the
admit something to my
companies.
wife today. This is breaking news on the podcast.
Oh shit!
Bum,
I-
bum, bum.
I had some extra time at work today, and I went and watched Vice.
Uh-oh.
Look,
He told me he was going
I
to
want-
movies.
I want everyone today, if at all possible, to go watch the movie Vice.
Was it good?
About the
Was it
Bush,
fucking
the Bush vice president. I've heard
good?
it's fucking amazing.
Fucking
You want to
insanity.
go watch it tomorrow night?
Go watch it. It's
Can we-
fucking nuts.
Can
I'll
we
go
do like
watch
a
it.
mandate?
I'll go watch it again with you.
Me?
I'll see it twice.
Dick, was it
I
Dick?
I won't
Cha-
be
Dick
done with
Cheney.
about 10 o'clock.
Dick Cheney.
Cheney.
That he was
I'll be done
fucking.
by 10 o'clock.
He was fucking ruthless.
If they show it that late, let's do a mandate.
Oh my
and go.
Let's
God.
go watch it.
He was fucking
Chase
insane.
can't go. He already went.
I had to piss so bad. I
Anybody.
pissed in my fucking Coke cup. But, and the old lady behind me was like hearing me piss in this cup. Look, government is fucking corrupt.
Very.
There's no fucking way.
Yeah,
we have
Democrats
had the
fucked as fuck.
We all know that.
The Republicans are fucked as fuck.
We have
because
because Bush Senior sold us to Iraq.
The whole.
so I want
fucking
to go
thing.
down the line. How do you feel about career politicians?
They're
Lifelong.
terrible.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
They make a lot of money.
Can we talk about how Ted Cruz and like all of them presented that bill this week to fucking
In their career?
establish a 12-year term limit on senators,
Fuck yes.
and a 6-year on Congress?
Because here's
that's
the other thing.
wonderful. That
When-
is what we need.
Name another
So-
profession where someone doesn't bow out after they're 70 plus. There's not another person. There's not another profession
Riding this
where you
bitch out
can-
till death.
Yeah, where you can operate efficiently and still
The
be
judge
as
of the grand
effective
jury is like
in your role.
99
Well,
years
that-
old.
Supreme Court.
Supreme
What, the
Court,
one that just
whatever.
got
This motherfucker
re-diagnosed
is
with
old
cancer
as
or
fuck.
whatever that had to
Re-diagnosed.
Here are
You know what
some
I'm
of the
talking
bigger
about?
problems, and if you watch the
Ruth
movie,
Bader.
a little bit of spoiler alert, but this is minor details. Dick Cheney went from like he, what's it called when you like fucking learn from someone that teaches you in
like an
business?
internship.
Internship. He started as an intern. He's a fuck up internship.
He
Then
used
sl-
that word earlier.
He slowly fucking climbed his way up. But the problem with career politicians is, okay, they get out of their position in the Supreme Court, the Congress,
But
or
they get into a better one.
There's another
no, they go
one.
into the private sector. He went into a CEO of an oil company, and he just
That's where he made his money.
so he
No
he
shit.
knew everyone
Yeah.
in policy at the time,
Connections.
and just said, "Look, if you'll make these policies, everyone gets rich."
Yeah.
That's the fucking problem.
Everyone.
Now,
That's what
I
they
saw
do.
Ted Cruz where he, presented something to
So
the.
let's let doctors do that
No.
and
No.
say, hey, I'm going to come on and get all my nurses rich.
I mean, it's all
I don't
about.
think they look at
It's
it
not
like
about
that.
who you
They
know.
don't.
It's
They
about
don't.
who you blow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys
I
had
don't know.
like
Maybe
10
not,
years of
maybe
school.
not the
So
doctor, but let's get the medical field in on that somewhere. If we have
Doctors are in it.
That
for
all rolls
themselves.
back to
They're
building
all
that.
about it.
You
They're
have
all
the
about
you,
themselves. They don't
you
care
have
about
the
us.
plans for the ivory tower, but you have poor foundation.
And here's one thing: if we can ever like adjust the hemorrhage, like if we can stop the hemorrhage, so we're talking about immigration and such.
Jake the
If we
Snake.
can stop that outflow of resources,
If we stop-
we can redistribute those
How do
throughout.
How do you stop what built our country?
We're capacity. Like it's
No,
time.
we're
I
not.
mean,
Cocaine and
If we live-
hookers built our country.
You know,
If we
that's
live
the
at a
deal.
constant deficit, so at some point,
We
it
have millions of square.
we've
miles
all
that are
talked about
uninhabited.
this at some point.
but
But
we
if
don't have the money.
if America was a big dry erase board and you had a big marker that you could just wipe everything out and reconstruct something that made sense in a modern
Revelation.
society,
Literally what we did in
I'd make Texas
1776
bigger.
to 1923.
yeah, it's just a lot more people now. And from 1776,
No. Oh.
I mean, we wiped out
I
100
say no. I
million,
can make
you know,
Texas
it's not-
bigger and the population goes lower.
I'm saying if you streamline
Oh.
streamline the immigration process, make it more forgiving, more friendly, where you can get people that are truly impoverished and in need of assistance on a basis that we make the rules on,
Yeah.
not
Okay,
on
so-
an involuntary.
So I saw a
This
deal-
goes back to when I was talking about healthcare earlier. How do you put parameters on who needs help and who doesn't?
yeah, it's such a tricky subject.
Yeah, it's hard, but
I'm not getting back
who
into that
wants it?
because Dick says fat people don't need insurance.
Fat people die.
But while we're on the subject, hold on. While we're on the subject, Brittany.
Hey, skinny people die too. I promise you.
Yeah.
Hey, I
from-
mean, I'm just
listen,
as much for
you
letting
can be
fucking
skinny-
anorexic
Skinny people
as
die
long
from
as
meth and
I've
trailer
never
parks.
seen a fat meth head to date.
No.
That's
to
two
date.
people I worked.
While we're on the subject,
Hey,
Brittany,
let-
how
let
do you
her-
feel about cock rings?
Ooh.
Vibrating or non?
Poor. The battery life is awful.
The little watch batteries don't last as long
Man,
as they
we-
should.
Man,
So-
Chase it. Hygiene,
Okay, we
hygiene
had
is
one
questionable.
small tiny experience with that.
Let me take you on.
Oh,
a,
you don't
let,
play with- you
let me
haven't?
take you on an adventure.
Take me. I've played with one 4
Take
times.
me home
Do you,
tonight.
are they
I've
single?
had
I'm not
four-
taking it. I'm not taking it home, but I'm taking it to Seattle.
Seattle,
I've had
Washington.
4 sexual relationships that I wore a cock ring.
Seattle, Washington.
Please
So-
share.
Cock rings are
Um,
pretty fun, though. Honestly,
I mean, and I don't. I can only speak for our sexual
Not
endeavor,
Walmart version.
but
Oh, no.
sometimes
I would this was like a
Some-
40. This was like a $42 cock ring.
Oh, that's legit.
I can only
Nah.
speak to
Yeah.
our sexual endeavors. But sometimes there are artificial devices involved in the bedroom. But I think that would be the female anatomy's
sucks.
crazy.
It sucks.
it
so-
sucks
It
when you're a
sucks.
dude trying to get her off. Like the
So
female
we can all-
anatomy sucks.
We
My
can all
tongue-
agree
my
that
tongue
the
game's
female anatomy is a
strong.
little off, right?
It's
so,
off.
so in magical 2010, we got married.
No,
Oh shit.
13.
2030.
Bro, I was 08. Y'all
Three-
get married a year after you graduated.
2010, our child was born.
Yes.
13. So 2013, we're two young lovers in love.
madly in
cock
love
rings
in 2000.
Yep.
French
No, not yet. We don't have a cock ring yet. So we
Damn, and y'all got married?
we get
get
married
She
at a
hit
little
her.
church.
She hit her naughtiness until
Yeah.
We
He
get
put a
married
ring
in a
on.
little church here in town, and we're two small city lovers hopping on a plane going to the big city of Seattle. So we fly all the way up there, and I think maybe on the second or third day we got this like fucking we're on our honeymoon of like broke fucks. So
Our last tax return, our last one we've ever gotten.
we're staying at an extended stay. We're doing it fucking right,
Hell yeah.
So we're in Seattle.
Hot tub.
We don't understand that pedestrians really fucking have the right of way.
They do.
We go to Seattle. I'm driving a Fiat 500. I'm like, these motherfuckers are walking. They don't give a shit what my life.
They
what
have
my
the
life-
right of way.
And there's so
period.
many Asians.
So
Walking
we pay
everywhere.
everywhere.
we pay more in parking for the week than we do for our
Might
hotel.
as well walk.
Yeah.
So we
Walk.
finally realized just pay to park once for the day and just walk
Walk.
as far as
Yeah,
you
that's
can.
what you gotta do in any
So
city.
we go to this.
was great,
I don't
though.
know what it was called. We go to this little sex store and we go in and we're broke. We just had a kid. He's like,
Babies or BBs or something like
yeah.
that.
We go in and they've got like a $98 fucking rubber dicks on the wall. They got fucking $62 edible panties.
But
So
it was fancy. It was all set up real modern. These little
Fancy.
glass cases. I mean, it was. It
So
wasn't
we go
like
in
the
and
yellow
we-
shack we had on 271
And
north. It
Oh,
was, it was done
yeah.
right.
we had set aside like $16.72 for sex toys for the day. And if my in-laws are watching, sorry, I pounded her vag. But
They
we go
won't be
in.
watching this.
they have a child together, pounding bars.
It had happened.
Will
before.
not be watching.
We leave with a silver bullet, not wireless, wired.
Wow.
We have the wired version.
Old school.
Efficient.
13 was a long time
And
ago.
we leave with a little pink cock ring that's got this tiny little pill
Oh,
in
just
it.
that little baby.
And I remember taking her back to the hotel, and I'm going to tell her, I'm like, looking her in the eyes. I don't know if I said it or just like telepathically
Thought
said,
it.
I'm going to fuck you for the best 3 minutes to 30 seconds of your life. Let me roll this sumbitch on. And my dick's little. My dick is tiny. And I like just run this tight little pink ring over my dick. And I turn it on, and it's a Ryobi fucking weed eater.
Two cycle.
And
Fucking ready to go.
and it's not a fucking Husqvarna or Skill. It's Ryobi. So 45 seconds in, it's like. So I'm like, get your cell phone. I'll call it. Put it on vibrate.
You better get off as fast as I do. Ready, set,
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
It's the only time we've done that.
So we're two little birds in a big world up there in Seattle. You're traveling for probably the first big time, right?
Yeah.
For the first big adventure of your life. She's never really been outside of Paris. We get up there and we do all kinds of just craziness.
What stuff?
Well,
When
I
she's
don't
drunk.
think we
Mainly
did
like-
butt stuff.
About one more beer and the butt stuff comes in.
Belgium butts.
no.
Belgium butts.
No,
Hey, that Belgian triple is pretty
we're not
good.
against butt stuff, but I
Hey,
will
butt
admit
stuff
that
is
she's
fine.
against my butt stuff. She will
Yeah,
not. stuff-
Chase has been
It
asking me to go
worries
butt stuff
me.
for
I don't.
years.
I don't blame you.
Wait,
Well, no,
worries
Brittany
me.
says it's a gateway.
It's dangerous.
And
That's-
he says,
Like
his
putting stuff
opinion,
in your
this is how
butt or
close I am to these assholes. She says it's a gateway. That's how stuff goes too far. He
Dr.
says,
Phil says my G spot's in there.
It
he
is.
And I've heard
says
about
it's a
medical
gateway
people-
because if you won't do it, I'm going to find somebody else
Well,
that
hey,
will.
look. If,
I would
if
hate to
there's
find a man
if
that would
there's
fuck
a
my
date,
butt.
then it's you right there, all right?
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
It worries me.
Wow.
If
I
there's
don't-
a gate, this is it.
I ain't against much of anything,
there.
but it kind
No.
of worries me.
That right there. Woo!
Yeah.
Anything more?
Three
than
finger discount.
Yeah.
What was that place called? My in-laws live in Seattle. I'm gonna have them stop.
It's
Hey,
like-
y'all ever get on adamandeve.com?
No.
Yes, that's where our laptop
Oh,
is.
Hey,
Yeah.
you dirty little bitch.
That's where I got my.
No,
that's where I got
and
my
then
bed
yes.
straps.
It's cheaper.
I don't believe in
That's
that.
where I got my
bed
last
straps.
one from.
My bed straps.
Because that sucker ran out.
Oh, I've got the ones that go underneath
That
the
sucker
mattress.
short circuited.
Oh, I've got. The
I
ones
tell you
that
what, the
go-
corded silver bullets don't hold
It
up.
did.
Hold up like I thought they should.
Well, mine. I bought some
think-
straps off
Adam
Adam
and Eve, bitch.
that go underneath the mattress and then wrap around the bed deals and like you can.
we have rock
you can
climbing
strap it
gear.
down
I can
good.
build any harness you want.
Yeah, our
mine's
walls would
pre-set
hold it?
up.
Okay.
Mine's
My
pre-set up.
Me and my
I can
ex-old-
strap you down and flip you over if necessary.
Me and my
Wait till you have
ex-old lady
kids.
took
You
the,
ain't
like,
doing none of that shit.
I know what causes kids. My pull-out game's strong, son.
That's when you you know what the
29
deal
years,
when you
not a
have
scare.
kids when you have kids listen
or I
listen.
put my nut
Let
in a rat trap.
let her explain what
Okay,
fucking with kids
this is
like.
how it works with kids. Okay, So
I did it with
Leland's
2.
birthday's in June. We got June and we got Christmas time. So me and Chase, we're going to the bedroom. We're going to talk about your birthday presents,
Bang, bang,
depending
bang,
on
bang,
what
bang.
year, what time of the year is.
And Leland, when you watch this, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
I'm
baby.
sorry, Leland.
What time of the year it is? We're going to talk about your Christmas presents.
Or you're fucking in the bathroom. What are y'all doing? Oh, blow dry mommy's hair.
I did it with 2 kids.
This
and
kid's
lived
going to
in a
have
camper.
extravagant presents. That's all I got to say.
At one
Is he
point-
let down at Christmas time? He's like, man, they talked a lot about this shit right here.
Yeah, this is it.
I got a pickaxe.
I had sex
At the
with,
mic.
with a mic. Oh, I lost my mic again.
No, you're good. I hear you.
Oh,
can hear you.
I lose at my head.
Oh.
There it is. I lived
means
in
you
a
backed up
camper
too
with
far.
a woman, and had 2 kids. And I remember specifically one time having sex in the bedroom with my ass holding the door shut.
Oh, yeah.
While
Shit.
Dax turned the doorknob.
I worked with a girl who lived in a camper temporarily while they were building a house.
rough.
They used to go out and have sex on the playground equipment in their front yard that was set up for their kids.
Man,
That's what
I
I'm
shut my
talking
door
about.
and I'm like, you go to your room. We're talking. We'll come out when we're ready to talk to you.
That's what I told Leland is.
It's always
Because it's
worked.
always right about bedtime. And I'm like, hey, so he understands about 9 o'clock. That's his last video. And I'm just like, you watch videos until daddy comes to you to stop.
I'm not. When I come back, you'll be done.
Or he takes such a long shower
Daddy
or
comes
bath
Well, hey, here's
because
the
he likes to play.
All right, here's
Turn it off. Dad, I'm not even
Just
halfway
wait till
through
he's in
this.
the
It's only a
bath.
4-minute
Why
video.
don't y'all get it in while he's in the bath or the shower?
We do.
then?
We do a lot
We do
of
a
times.
lot of times. Yeah,
I mean,
that
you
sounds
sneak
to
it when
me-
you can
it's
get
a
it.
lot easier because he takes such a freaking long bath.
Yeah,
That's a
so I'd
good
be
thing.
like,
Well-
hey, motherfucker, get in there and play with your toys. I'm about to go beat your mom's pussy up.
Listen, you see my strategy on that
Yeah.
is like I've already got him. I'm already getting like the normal size shampoo bottle and the extra large size
beating that
conditioner.
little
So
Yeah.
dick up.
I don't have to know
I started at
how
like
much
10.
conditioner he's
You don't
using.
I
wanna
started
know.
at 10. I'm pretty sure it's like my first HBO,
Wow.
kind of fuzzy.
HBO.
Yeah.
I remember
Listen,
those
I was
days
thinking,
when
was
it
it?
was like,
here's the
Well,
topic. Here's the topic. I was thinking about
Sex
this
Live
today.
or what was it
Think
called?
about what
No,
was
it
cool.
Was, HBO. There was the Bunny Ranch,
Sex Odyssey.
and there was HBO Sex. It
Yeah.
was S period.
No,
E
no, no,
period,
no, no, no. It's
Taxi
like-
cab confessions.
Taxi
Taxi
cab
cab
confessions.
confessions.
Yeah.
Too.
I had a passcode and
The,
I figured out what the passcode was.
There
Bunny
was like
Ranch,
a-
I think, was probably one of my
on
favorites.
Showtime, there was like Seymour Butts Family Business or something like
No,
that. I
well,
remember
so
that
that's
one.
actual softcore
it-
porn. Though
Yeah.
HBO, I liked because it was reality. It was real
Oh,
people.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've
like-
I've
All
always
these
kind of been
hippies
into
in this
like real
communion having
things.
sex, like big orgies and stuff.
My wife teaches sixth grade, right? English. Think about what was cool in 6th grade for us. Fucking yo-yos. We had yo-yos.
Oh yeah,
Yo-yos
Walk
were
in,
the
you can
bomb.
I still have a yo-yo. What are you
In
fucking
sixth-
talking about?
Yeah.
In sixth
I bought one
grade,
like a
we
year
found
ago.
a sex
What's
tape
going on?
in the fucking band hall.
We have
I'll
any
never
issues?
forget that. We found this 3.5 hour long porn tape.
Mr. Wheeler
On
and his
VHF.
man lover.
Was
VHS.
it gay porn?
Dude,
Mr.
it was
Wheeler and
definitely
his
on
man lover?
VHS. This is when I went to school in
Mr.
Garland
Wheeler.
still, but this literally
Is
had
there a
3.5 hours of porn on it. Do you know how much I thought I knew in 7th grade compared to 6th grade?
I'm just like
Holy
6th
shit.
grade though. That's what we weren't nothing. That wasn't a thing.
Uh-uh.
But now these kids. Now you're a couple years younger than me. But now the kids my wife's teaching. Oh,
Oh,
Oh no, I mean I was rubbing dick in
Pornhub
6th
and X
grade.
They're
videos.
badasses.
I figured out what a boner was real quick
Yeah.
when I was
Yeah.
waking up like,
they're
what the
getting
fuck's
pregnant
going
or they're
on?
lesbian or
Yeah,
they
they're
know
bad.
We
it.
had a Megan McCallum, I think it was her name. She was pregnant like the last few months of our 6th grade year.
I
Pause.
remember that.
That's
here someone can
No.
finish. Someone
Too
can
late.
finish
Just
Colt's
Colt's.
off.
Fuck that dude.
All
I mean,
right.
you can pour it in my beer. I guess we're the only two drinking Miller.
You remember
I
the
mean,
time? Remember the time we tricked you at Chili's and made you drink? Bud
made me
Light?
drink fucking Bud Light, you nasty fuck.
He was like,
There's Bud
he
Light
took
Select
he took a
55.
drink of all of ours and was like, cat piss, cat piss, cat piss, and he gets to his, and his was Bud Light, and he was drinking Miller, and he thought he was drinking Miller, but it was Bud Light, and he was like, golden perfection or something like that.
Yeah.
He was drinking fucking Bud Light.
I was drunk.
All right. So,
Bud Light.
Cooter, what were you saying about Colt and Vegas trip? Let's fill it
Okay.
in while Colt's
So
drunk.
let's talk about Colt and Vegas while so Candace can watch this. Anyways,
She
And
ain't
Colt's
gonna watch
grandmother.
these. And Colt's
she's
grandma.
not-
Shout out
she's
to,
not gonna
Hi,
be
Grandma.
happy.
Shout out to Nana.
So
I love you,
we're,
Nana.
Like
Leave me
late.
some stuff.
We go play golf the first day. We get there. We have a good time. We go out. We go to the casino that night at our resort, at our hotel. He's on the roulette table making the most ridiculous bets I've ever seen a human make. I'm like, Colt, what are you doing, dude? Boom, he would hit over and over. He hit the 0, 0, 0. He split it with like $10.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you putting $10 on
That's
that, dude?
37
you're
to 1.
stupid. Hit it 3 times in like
37
an
to 1.
hour. When I left him, he was up like $1,000. Not even shitting you.
Dude, the only time
$1,000.
I've ever played roulette in my life, me and my buddy Wesley Joe Malone went over to the fucking Grant Casino.
Yeah.
We both walk in, and there's a roulette table like right in front of the door.
Hear so much breathing.
And I was like, bro, I'm getting in on this. And Wesley's like, no, don't do it. You're going to lose your money. And I'm like, no. I just go over there, I throw a $100 bill down. They hand me my chips. I put all of them out there, every way possible to hit on red 19. Like, I put, like, red, odd, 1 through 10, you know, like 19, all the corners.
1 through 10's not.
Like deep hatred.
We're kind of
from,
to
like,
that point
deep
where,
in
like, hey,
soul.
bro,
Like his shit's
we're
been
buddies.
brewing a while.
We've fought enough.
Fuck
Let's
yeah.
just shut it off. He's like, he's already in like red
You fucking
zone.
offended me.
He can't see anything anymore, and it's either this guy has to stop breathing or I do. That's my fear with Chase.
Yeah, it happens. It
All
will
right,
happen.
so Colt. I mean, what? Finish your story now with Colt.
Well, so basically, comes back to the room, beats on the door. He's like drunk as fuck. I mean, he's
But he brought you
wasted.
towels. I mean, that's
He got some towels.
Are they warm?
No, they were not warm. They had puke on them, I think. So he goes to bed like an hour before we have to get up. We wake up, we get ready. He's like, I can't go. I can't do it. So we get there, and we had reservation for 5 dudes. Like, there was no, like, getting out of this. I mean, we'd reserved it, and we were supposed to have to pay for 5. So we're like, the chick that checked us in, she was real cool, and she's like, well, what happened to y'all's 5th? And we're like,
Must be my
you know,
phone.
Vegas got him. Vegas got him.
It's my
So-
phone next to the mic stuff.
Vegas. So he set that one out. I call him on the way back through. We're going to our second golf course for the day, and I'm thinking he's either like
It's
in the,
me.
in the emergency room or like he's at the resort or whatever.
That's it.
When we come back through, I call him and I'm like, dude, are you making it? Like, what's up? He's like, yeah, I'm down here eating at McDonald's. Y'all pick me up on the way back through. He's fine, you know, like it was nothing but being drunk.
Yeah.
So all that he lost like $1,300.
Oh,
Damn.
Yeah, it was a bad
See,
news.
My
I would have
worst
to
one-
quit.
my worst one at Grant, 48 minutes. I walked in with 300. I had 2,600 in 48 minutes.
Got
Yeah.
a little left.
Only betting on black.
Left.
But you
Straight
left
up.
with how much?
-2.
Fuck. In 2 more hours.
And no.
Hey,
48 minutes.
That
had-
addiction
what I
gets
said, I think
you,
it was
man.
like right at 2,300. But in my head,
Me and them
that's-
fucking
that is
scratch-offs.
That is the addiction. You think, fuck, I ain't even been in an hour and I've won 2,300.
I can
I'm about
go
to
5
double up
Gs.
on. I'm about to double up on these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And then you don't.
In
You get
seven-
all that.
In
He's like-
17 minutes,
That's why when I,
lost
hit that
it all.
2,300, I walked the fuck out.
gone.
I put my $100
Even
down
if
on that
it's-
roulette table. I don't think
I'm
I got to
making them
finish the
feel
story.
me. They're going to feel me
I
tonight.
literally, I don't know the exact times, but walked in at like 11 a.m. And in that time, won 2,300.
Why the fuck were you at the casino at 11 o'clock in the morning?
Well, I used to work nights, bro.
Yes.
The,
And them
11 o'clock in the morning to
6
me
o'clock
was
in the morning, they're
fucking
all
noon to
leisure.
everybody else.
Leisure time.
But it was walked in 11 a.m., won 2,300, lost 2,500 in an hour.
Damn. It's funny you know that.
So I was talking to Chase about this
To
at
you,
lunch the other
dude.
day. I watched it on,
Indeed,
on another
Jason Dix.
podcast, and it was something I enjoyed. I enjoyed it because I firmly believe in what they said was modern medication has ruined evolution in the sense of mankind is pretty much at a shutdown in the sense of evolution.
Yeah.
Where
think that's a
used
hard
to it
thing to
was
say.
the strong survive,
The weak die.
the weak die.
Yeah.
That's
We've
gone.
We've only had modern medication for give or take 100 years, and that's not long enough to judge evolution.
Not evolution, but
100
societal,
years is a lot.
societal changes.
evolution is.
Not
Because
really.
we've had what the
Heart disease
That's
is
3
an,
lifetimes.
heart disease is an
That's
all-time
3
high.
generations.
100
Which
years
that's
is
what-
one lifetime.
Yeah, what you
One-
look at
1.2
Yeah, but
generations.
100 years is 3 generations. You're looking at 3 lifetimes.
if you really base it off what you look back as is life expectancy during our early, gains in medical field. So life expectancy used to be like 40 years
50
old.
years,
Yeah,
yeah.
like 40. If you hit 50, you were old.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying from 100 years ago to now, you're looking
Yeah.
at 3 lifetimes.
And then now the
in
life
100 years.
expectancy of males
Yeah.
is like
60,
70,
70.
76 or something
Yeah.
or whatever. Well, that to me already, like I said, proves your point is that you're mimicking things that used to kill people are no longer killing people.
No.
So
Yeah.
if it's
So
something
evolution is a thing.
evolution long term, talking about genetic, changes to create a a more appropriate species is something that is not going to affect over 100 years. But what you're talking about is evolution as far as what would normally weed out things
The
that
weak.
would kill people.
The weak.
Yeah, the weak. So
At this-
people that inevitably have
Or diseases.
diseases.
At this point
and
in
things.
human history, though, you're not looking at evolution anymore. You're looking at medical advances.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I just
So
said.
medical
That's the
advances,
That's
but
exactly
long
what I just
term,
said.
you're talking about the
Medical
difference of-
advancement has
But
ruined.
that's not killing evolution. That's
It's
another
changing.
step
It's
in
changing
evolution.
it.
No. It's
basically-
ruining.
We now
It's
have the ability.
negating.
We now have the ability to go farther.
Or enabling
where
it.
before measles or the whooping cough
Oh, the
or
fucking
polio,
People not
or,
vaccinating their damn
Yeah.
children.
That attacks,
where things that we vaccinate against now we are
that
we are
attacked
giving
people whose immune
Yeah.
We are-
systems didn't have the
yeah,
strength
and we're
to
weeding
fight
those
off.
people. We're
Yeah.
weeding those
evolution.
people out. We
Evolution
are
is
forcing
largely
evolution.
negated at this point because of
because of modern
No,
medicine.
Yeah, modern medical
It's not negated. It's
gains.
being forced. We're not saying, hey, you can't evolve past polio. We're saying, hey, evolve past polio or die.
it's gonna
But
reverse.
it's not-
no,
It's
no,
gonna-
no.
evolving.
I mean, it's gonna
You're not
reverse.
evolving.
That's an evolution.
You're being pushed
You are-
past it. That's
no,
not
there's an
evolution.
external
That is evolution.
there's
You
an
are
external
literally-
influence.
You are
now.
literally pushing the genes to change, which
So,
is an evolution.
No,
Which
they're,
is
they're not
No.
changing.
You're-
You're mimicking change.
You're not. Yeah,
You're not changing shit.
Forcing.
If
Genes
we
to
make
change.
everybody, let's say we vaccinate, let's just say everybody in this generation of kids right now born like 2013 to 2019, let's just say every single one of them got vaccinated for polio, they cannot get polio. Now their kids,
That's not the truth.
no
Genetically, they could get
they
polio.
could,
Synthetically, they
but-
cannot.
But now
That's
they
not
can-
evolution.
But now they cannot. Now, when 2037, because we're just saying, 18 years past the parameter that's set right now, so 2033 to 2037, they start having kids. Those kids, every single one of them,
No.
immune to polio.
No,
No,
they
they're
won't be
not.
immune.
That's not a synthetic. That
They're still- they're
synthetic
still-
medicine doesn't carry on genetically.
Yeah.
They carry the
Why would
medical
it not?
disposition.
If,
Because you're not-
if
Synthetic.
you
trait.
change the
It's a
genetic
trait.
makeup of the parent,
You did not.
You didn't change the
can't.
You took
makeup.
aspirin
You can't.
today. Did you change your
We're
genetic
still
makeup?
like a dominant recessive
if you
gene.
get herpes tomorrow,
No.
That's environmental.
You
So-
can pass that
environmental
on, right?
influences, yeah.
So you
So-
can't. So you're saying you can pass on diseases?
It's like
but you
sickle
can't pass
cell.
on
It's like sickle
immunities?
cell. I
But
mean,
here's the thing: is you've by increasing vaccinations and decreasing the how many people get polio. What you've done is you've eradicated something that's not going to kill all these people
Yeah.
that killed them.
You
in the old
didn't build a
days.
So-
genetic immunity to it.
You've actually increased the negation of evolution
But that's
by
not
taking
true
away
because
a
we've seen
factor that would
decrease in
normally
things
kill
like
people.
Polio.
You do realize this is an actual medical fact thing, like
So-
not an emotional. This is how
No,
you
that's
feel
what
about
I'm saying
it.
is that we've seen a decrease. So how are you?
Only
arguing with me?
because
That's
a-
fine
a
because of
decrease is-
synthetic medicine,
Let's
not
look-
genetics.
So let's
Either
look at
way,
this.
Either way, a decrease goes against evolution.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, in the old days,
No, we're evolving
evolution
past it.
evolution kills people because they had a weakness.
They
If
didn't
you've
have the
negated that
genes to
weakness,
fight.
Yeah, you're moving past that
You've
weakness.
You didn't change-
essentially
no, no, no.
allowed all these people
Yeah,
with
strong
these
survive.
certain
Yeah.
genetics and stuff.
But that's not the way
to
vaccination
survive.
works.
Aren't surviving.
The way vaccination
Everyone is.
The way vaccination works is if we give you a reduced potency of a virus
Yeah,
or bacteria or whatever.
we-
So
or
we
killed
introduced
virus.
this
I
into
give
the
you
build
system.
antibodies.
I give you a dead
Yeah,
or
you
just
build
above
antibodies to
dead vaccination of it, so it allows your body to build immunities
Yeah,
to it.
your body was not. We forced it in. Now it is. Your
Well,
body has evolved.
here's a-
No.
here- let's
No.
break
Because what
some-
happens is the immune system is the only system, one of the only systems, or the only systems in the human body that only strengthens by the testing of. So you're not born with immunity to measles.
Yeah.
It's only because we inject you with a weakened
little
state
bit.
of
that
it.
doesn't pass on
it's like
genetic.
Doesn't
allergic
pass on.
reaction. Allergic reaction. You have to be exposed like a bee sting. You have to be stung by one time. You will not have a reaction to it. It's the second time that your body decides, hey, you're highly allergic.
like
you will
this.
die.
Yeah, it'll say I don't like this anymore.
Yeah, you will die But it's your body's trying to defend yourself.
So look at
but
at
it's
then
causing
after
you to
that-
suffocate and.
But then after that second
yeah.
time, your body has changed.
To look at
So
it as
then
far
when
as
you pass on
No.
those traits,
No, the
You're-
third time you die.
your genetic. So
Second time you die. The
it
second
can-
time you can
so
die
the
if you don't
heal-
have epi.
the helical makeup of your genetics. So one half comes from your mother, one half comes from your father. So it's
I mean, granted,
adenosine.
I'm not a
26
biologist,
chromosomes.
so I don't
Yeah,
know what I'm talking
or 23
about. I'm just
chromosomes,
asking
sorry,
questions
23
So let me
that sound like statements.
let me try to explain
No,
it,
you're
and
telling.
these two can help. So adenosine, thymine, glutamine, or you say the right words. I'm drunk.
Amino acids.
Yeah, the four building blocks of
Was it alanine?
Coot said nope.
Alanine, guanine,
Nope.
cytosine,
I don't know.
thymine.
thymine.
Yeah, so there's four
Like
building
in
blocks
the helix of DNA.
in helix of DNA. Those are set at conception of genetics. Half comes from your father, half comes from your mother.
Alanine, thymine, is cytosine.
So
guanine.
that is your genetic disposition or propensity to
But
either.
if they both have, even if it was synthetically induced, if they both have this now immunity to
You
chickenpox,
don't change
measles,
those building blocks.
No. Here, I'll make it even more simple. Say we're talking about evolution, which is the ongoing like development of the gene pool and
Evolution
how people
change.
evolve and change.
And survival, yeah.
So it all bases on survival. That's
Yeah.
what you have to think of. Is it bases on survival. So if just say the entire world was only 1,000 people, there's 1,000 people here that 100 years ago, 40 would have died from measles. So now those
40 would have died from the fucking
but
flu.
We're even
Yeah.
going more extreme
Yeah,
than that.
yeah.
So
Whatever disease
say
it
400
was.
would have been killed by, things that we now are preventable care.
Yeah.
So,
Rubella,
so
yeah.
now those 1,000,
Are
the
immune
400
to
are
it.
not dying. So the 400 that would have died are carrying over different genetics
Bad
that
genes.
would not have made it in the essential.
It's
Yeah.
as simple as
essential
this:
gene pool.
the
So
strong.
they are also carrying over genes that help them make it past.
Yeah,
Vaccinations
but-
don't change genes.
and they help create our vaccinations.
Vaccines don't change genes.
Yeah, they're
So
not changing.
When
but
sperm meet eggs, you get your genes.
by life
I'm
saving,
willing
you're
to
creating a
bet
difference.
that our genes are different now than they were 100 years ago.
Absolutely, that's not
Because of vaccines.
that's not arguable. But
Not
let's look at it
because
like
of
this: if you took half
Not
the
because of vaccines.
if you took half the population and put it on Antarctica or Africa's continent, and you took half of us and put it in North America or in the America's continent, in America's continent got vaccinations, and the African continent didn't get vaccinations. In Africa, people died and they built a threat. Let's just talk about measles
So
because
they
it's
depleted the gene pool. They depleted the gene pool.
in Africa, the people that were there didn't get vaccinations and died because of measles. The people that survived built a genetic defense against measles. Now, the people in America continued to get vaccinations against that. Now, all of a sudden, boom, no more vaccinations happened. You would have far more deaths in America without vaccinations than you would with the genetic evolution of a defense against measles in Africa.
for sure.
I have an
Then that
example.
goes
I get what
against
you're
the
saying,
I have an
but-
example.
for vaccination.
Okay, so like in Africa, like you were saying in Africa, malaria.
Yes.
Now, sickle cell disease
Sickle cell is
is actually
a good example.
Sickle cell disease is actually a defense mechanism against malaria.
It changes
Why
the shape of the red blood
African-American-
cells, right?
Why? Yeah,
Yes.
it does.
Yeah.
Why African Americans get sickle cell disease? Because that's where they're African American. It's a genetic disposition. Only African Americans get it. Period. It's a proven thing.
But it's been to fight off malaria.
Malaria.
Is it not?
Yes,
Well, and
it's actually
Caucasians get it, but with
Well,
some type of
some kind of
they had to be
African
exposed
descent.
to
There
it
is
at
Yeah.
some time.
But it's
The
a
genetics
But it's no
natural-
longer-
Genetically, it's
Your
Evolution,
body is
axis.
in this state of homeostasis. It wants to protect itself. It wants to survive no matter what.
So
So
it
the
gives you-
the
Well, evolution-
environment that you're in.
The theory of evolution is survival of the fittest, and that's no longer
that is not an effect anymore.
the
It
effect
is not a
because
there is no
we
survival of the fittest.
We
It's
cure the weak.
everyone
again.
survives.
Yeah, so
That's where my
so
sense
if we
of
say,
evolution
if we
comes in.
say
Yeah.
the definition is survival of the fittest,
That's
but
what it was.
If we define fittest by the injection of steroids, are the people that are synthetically fittest
Yeah,
No.
no.
as
I mean,
strong
they
as the
might
ones that are
look-
We're talking
biologically
about
fittest?
the ones that are more adapt to handle things that life.
Well, the
are-
people that aren't using
Illness and
Germex
stuff.
37 times
Jim
a
Strong
day,
versus Country
that
Strong.
aren't
Yeah.
taking
But now you're talking
medicine
about evolution
daily.
versus medicine, and those are
Well,
two
no, he's
different-
That
talking about
was
how-
what I started
talking
the
about how-
conversation off with.
Yeah,
was
medicine
modern medicine has
influence.
ruined and influenced evolution.
Yeah.
I'm not saying influenced evolution as in caused more evolution
Or
because
quit it
synthetic
completely.
cannot.
Evolution by definition means that the weak die.
Yeah.
Yes, the weak don't die no more.
And you've
If you-
created medicine
or-
has created avenues to keep people with life-threatening things alive
Alive long enough to
curing
breed.
cancer,
Doesn't
fixing
necessarily mean that they
cancer.
thrive.
HIV.
Yeah,
But they're
HIV has
alive.
never been a
Cancer,
bigger issue
certain
because
diseases.
we have medicine to keep people long enough,
Yeah.
keep them alive long enough to
Yeah.
spread that HIV and continue about their lives.
And then your life-threatening. I mean, your serious things like malformations of the heart and stuff at birth. Those defects are now being corrected surgically. They were not
and
then.
spread
So those things
genetically.
were killed.
So if you look at way more down the structure of the gene pool, let's look at stuff that aren't bred compassionately. So humans are obviously bred compassionately. Now, if you look in the dog world, there's a big, and this is going on because Westminster is about to happen. I see a lot of posts on this. Westminster is a big dog show that's based on purebred genetics. Well, if we say a dog is supposed to be so long and so high and so pointy ears and so long of a snout and all those things, now we say, and if you only say only those dogs that meet those criteria are bred, or you draw this thin line on the other side, well, all dogs should live all the time. So you've got one side that say if you don't meet those criteria, you die, or you say, well, everyone should live. Well, on one side, you're going to have humans or dogs that don't meet the criteria for life, or on the other side, you say, well, these dogs don't meet criteria, so they should die. Well, as soon as human emotion comes into the mix, then Grand Amy that's got cancer or a malformation in the heart because she doesn't meet the criteria to be a perfect specimen. Well, modern scientist says, well, we'll just fix that valve.
I don't think
she'll
you can-
live.
I don't
She'll
think you
live
should-
and be able to
Or
breathe
put
and
a
pass.
pig valve in there.
You
Pig
shouldn't
valve
go
in.
as far as to say perfect, but I think it goes back to how I was kind of talking about earlier about set parameters on it, and a parameter could be very broad.
Here's
still.
here's an
You don't
issue.
have to
We all
say-
wanna
It's
live
still
forever.
natural selection.
You don't. Oh, well, natural selection should
We're
definitely
just-
be a thing.
Medicine is just influencing natural selection
It's trying to
closer
prevent it, yeah.
because
See, like I'm
before
not
where
really
you
for
just would have
medicine.
died from this, now a doctor who's trained in that particular surgery can come in and influence natural selection. You're
And
doomed.
add
You're
20
in
years,
the toss
20,
out.
30
Yeah.
years shit
Oh,
alive.
You're in the
50
toss out
years. I
pile
mean-
over here as an 18-year-old with this heart defect, but then boom, a surgeon
Which
comes in
don't
and
get me
fixes
wrong,
you.
yes, that's awful.
Oh,
but
it's great. Yeah, you don't you wouldn't do away with
It's
what
not,
we're doing,
but if
what
you
you're
literally-
saying
Or is it natural selection?
If someone walked in tomorrow and said every doctor in America, every nurse, every pharmacy, everybody, if you give one more anything to any motherfucker in this country, we will put you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave the country if you want to do that. America's population, I would almost just roughly guess, in the next 10 years, would be less than half.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
well, the death
If
toll
you
would rise,
if you truly gave natural selection the next 10 years, our population would cut in half.
yeah,
but
because you
I
look
would
at the
be-
number
I
of
would be
baby
willing to bet
boomers.
at the same time that our economy would flourish.
Well, yeah, because your baby boomers are a huge influence
Yes,
on your economy.
that would be a good thing.
So you're,
Yeah.
you're
Thanos-
60.
Thanos
you're
had a
65
good
plus.
idea when he said
I mean,
population is higher than it should be.
yeah, you're not
Yeah.
wrong.
Oh no,
'Cause
no, I'm
you're-
not arguing with you.
'cause you
I
had-
look like I'm looking at you, Matt, but I'm not. Thanos
Right.
has a good idea in
I
his
mean,
head.
if we could wipe out like fat
Finally.
people and old
Subject
people,
Well, I'm not.
and people.
Well, and that's
like,
just it.
that
I'm
are-
not saying fat people because
I'm
the
sorry,
Air
like,
Force.
Because predisposed, you keep bringing up fat, but people are predisposed
Fat is
to
a
different.
choice.
So that's not always true,
That
but
is
my
100%
cholesterol
true.
may be better than yours, which means that you're more predisposed to a heart attack than I am.
Okay, which means that you could alter your diet.
Which
to
means you
take
could
in
alter
less
your diet.
No,
'cause
hold
your
on,
your
Dick, because
metabolism.
technically you just said.
I have literally altered my diet to go from 230 to 185
Okay.
in the past
But
7 months.
that completely difference on
So-
on
And-
geographical
but your-
region.
your
and also-
Now, my
cholesterol still
geographical
may be
region
worse
has
than
nothing to do
mine.
with the fact that I decided to stop
I mean,
eating
there's
less
been a
hamburgers.
study about the obesity in America. I was just watching it earlier this morning, and it had twins, and one was like 100 pounds lighter than the other, but they said that they still had, when it comes to twins, environmental factors is the only thing that
And it's different.
They're
Because
still- yeah.
how long
And
have
you
you
have-
known me? How long have I been this size?
Yeah, you're just.
My
was
whole
I this
li-
big in high school?
since
You're
I was
smaller
13.
now than you were.
No, this is
No.
the biggest I've ever been.
I feel
Since
like
I
you're
was
smaller now
13,
than
you have
you.
not changed size.
But I since 2003,
oh fuck,
I've
yeah.
been
02,
230 plus.
But do you have
right?
like a thyroid?
I do, and I have
Okay,
other
well,
things.
see,
But
and
what
there
I'm
are
saying,
things
But that's
like
a
that.
genetic
Which
disposition
are
from
things
where
what I'm
you-
saying
where you-
is,
where
Which
you
are
come
my
things that, like-
cholesterol may be better than yours. I get my cholesterol checked. Do you? I mean, you don't know. Like my cholesterol, things that are inhibited. I don't smoke and I don't have high cholesterol. If you smoke and have high cholesterol, then your risk for coronary artery disease is higher than mine. Based off, even though my BMI is higher than yours. So there's other factors
the
that are
tough
yeah.
tough issue with this is we're all looking in a regional genetic pool.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you look at someone from Ethiopia versus someone that comes from the native Hawaiian Islands, their
Oh, yeah.
genetic dispositions
Oh,
would
it's
be
I
was
heavy.
told that I was
That's
obese.
why natural selection
To
is
be
still
heavier.
a real thing.
Yeah,
It
so
is.
I actually watched Joe Rogan's podcast here where he talked about Scandinavian men were more they were more susceptible to suicide because of the lower light hours and the more average rainfall. So same
Yes.
way with the
It's
northwest.
more depressing,
more
emotional
weather.
state.
Yeah.
So in those and I could have this totally wrong, but there was a direct correlation between the amino acids in their diet that of a fisherman's
High
diet.
fish.
High fish increase their serotonin levels in their brain, so they come from an area that created more depression because of environmental influences.
But look at the Mediterranean region on the other side of the world where the pescatarian diet causes people to live 120 years.
Yes,
High sunlight.
but on the other side they have
Sunlight.
high sunlight,
High sunlight.
but they don't. But if you look at the diets and what Joe Rogan said, and the person they were talking about,
to pee so bad.
the people in the Mediterranean don't eat as many eyeballs and fish organs.
We're coming up on that.
The people in Scandinavia have decided we need to eat eyeballs and organs to get those vitamins and stuff.
So they
It's
found
so
ways-
And before we cut
Yeah.
this off, because you said before we end this one to go pee or whatever, we shut it down, whatever. You said you've expressed thoroughly that even in natural selection, insurance, blah blah blah, obesity, you have an issue with obesity. I understand that. When I got out of the Air Force, when I first came home, Chase saw me. I was in the prime of my weightlifting. I was trying to do competitive bodybuilding, blah, blah, blah. I was 250. I was 6'2", 250 pounds with 8% body fat.
Okay, and that
8%.
obese is when
No, hold on.
different than somebody.
But
who
when
is
I
350, like
left
250
the
with
Air
100%.
Force, I was registered with my insurance as
That's
obese.
Yes, but that obese
I got registered
is
6
way
months ago as
different.
obese, and I work
Yeah.
out
But
every
in your
day.
comment,
But
but in your comment of obesity, as far as an insurance standard, this goes way back to our other conversation. Obesity
insurance
shouldn't be
standard is
covered.
BMI,
And if
period.
they go
That's
off
all they
BMI,
go off of.
I lose. I don't get insurance,
lose.
even though I have 8%
I
body
lose
fat.
and I
I
work-
lose
I'm a-
insurance. because
And
they
I'm the
consider my
same
BMI
way.
obesity.
If you were to draw a thin line on a piece of paper, like a governing body was to get together of 15 people and say, if you're this height, you this
no,
weight.
that's the military.
Yeah, it
Well, it's
the
all
problem.
standardized.
It's
medical,
standardized
too.
BMI.
It's
If we can
standardized.
do it for the military, why can't we do it for civilian life?
Then I
I'm
would have been
obese.
considered obesity.
I am
Sucks to
obese.
suck, doesn't it?
Motherfucker, you're obese.
I know. Sucks to suck,
We're
doesn't it?
all
I
So
would
obese.
you
not
don't get
healthcare.
insurance. The man that wants
This
universal
I'm 5'2",
insurance.
It sucks for me.
255
I know.
You're a bag of
pounds.
dicks.
No, then
I
I
work
fucking,
out.
then I go out and I go out and I literally stop eating so many hamburgers. I stop drinking so many beers. I stop smoking
I
cigarettes.
work out
No,
every
I'm
day.
healthy
Get my
and I
body
work
to the
out.
point where it
I'm
needs to
not
be.
obese.
Yeah.
I am to where I need
So
to be.
you're
body-
if you were to say just because you match this height, then you match this weight. If you're over, you're obese.
There needs to
But
be
if you got someone that just lifts weight and just pounds
BMI,
weight,
activity factor, all these kind of things
there's
need to
too
be.
many variables.
There's
Take
too many
Cooter, for
variables.
example.
As soon
he
as you-
is not
I
a
gotta pee.
default on our insurance.
in any category,
I
as
don't go
soon
to
as
the
you
doctor. I
draw
don't
a
have any,
line,
I haven't
high
been to the
risk.
doctor in 6 years.
Okay, so we can't really sit here and say that Cooter or you or me or not because I haven't been to a doctor in a long
yeah,
time.
as soon as
No, you just said sucks to suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
as
mean,
soon as anyone
it-
says
I'm
down,
just saying.
You
in my,
draws a
backtrack.
line.
You
There's
backtrack
a
on
line.
so much.
No,
There's
it
a
didn't
line
at
with
all, because
age.
it would
There's a
suck
line with
for
the
us
BMI.
to
There's
get
always a line
excluded.
drawn.
That's not how it works.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. As soon as you sit down and draw a thin line,
Well, you don't draw a thin line.
But you have to.
There's
At some
external
point-
factors in every
At some
case.
point, you have to draw. You're either too skinny or too fat. You resist too much or not enough,
Broke a tooth.
or you don't work out enough, or you do. As soon as you draw those lines, then in the United States or in society, we all have that one outlier that causes us to have an emotional reaction to those rules,
And I kill everybody.
Well, you don't.
and
Draw
someone
line-
dies.
You don't.
The
draw-
last
you
three,
don't
I can
draw
tell you the
lines
last
at height,
three
height,
heart
and weight.
attacks that we've treated, the last three have been under age 50 and all men that would not exceed.
So tonight we've talked. We've
Let's
checked
lighten
in
it
with-
up. Let's end it on a lighter note.
Yeah, we've
here.
checked
Let's
in with
go.
everybody. We've talked to anything from killing babies to
To priest fucking
Evolution.
letting fat fucks die,
to priest
evolution,
fucking already born
to
babies.
touching kitties,
Yeah,
everything.
Catholics and shit.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
it's-
Cooter. I
you
don't
know,
want you to
it's-
die.
Let's lighten it up. Let's just go back to just
Butt plugs.
sometimes. Yeah,
Butt plugs. Let's
and-
talk about
and
butt plugs.
vibrators.
Brittany said it.
Yeah. So
Butt sex is great.
the
Let her shove her
key
finger
that
up
I
your
want,
butt.
and I don't, we haven't decided on a full name yet. The candy shop seems a little bit cliche.
I don't know.
I
though.
thought you had the rooster choke. I thought that was the thing.
Let me-
Rooster
but- well,
choke?
last
What? We didn't
show-
even talk
Y'all had-
about that.
No, we
Hold
did.
on.
That
Y'all
was the
had-
original.
Y'all had
was
people
the-
No,
like,
we didn't.
choking a rooster
what?
like a cartoon.
Well, we
rooster
had
with
even
the
like
eyes
we
bugging
had a
out.
cartoon and everything planned out
So
before you came
Damon
in.
Cox said, "Call it the El Talking Mesa." So the Talking House, what? Which we could.
El Talking Casa?
What's talking in Mexico?
Our little Mexican
El Hablo
aggressive.
Casa?
Well, it's because
Habla.
James
Habla?
is
Habla
Mexican.
would be
Casa?
speak.
Habla inglés.
That'd be speaking.
Habla.
Let me see. The Talking
No habla español. I don't speak Spanish.
House in Spanish.
Hablar would be
So the
closest.
last
Casa
show
de
we were
la-
talking about.
Casa is house.
Yeah, the fact you had to Google that probably means you don't need to name it after
Yeah.
something. Mexican.
No, we were talking about it, and the last show I said the candy shop where everything's sugar coated.
I
and
want
everybody
something
gets
with a
sprinkles.
little
But
more
it's really
meaning
not
to it.
It's not
It's not
sugar
sugar
I
coated.
think we should change
Well, I
to
know,
where
it's
nothing is
sarcasm.
sugar-coated.
Pretty
Yeah.
blunt.
That's the
With
fun
nothing
part. Is
Where
it's
nothing
sarcasm.
is
I like the
sarca- where
rooster
nothing
choke.
is sugar coated, but everybody
Yeah, the candy
gets their
shop where
trophy.
nothing sugar coated and no one
Nobody.
gets a
No,
fucking
where
trophy.
everyone, because at the end of the night,
Everyone
time
wins.
we need to give out, we need to give everybody at the table some kind
I'm
of
gonna
little-
set a hard rule right
like
now.
you're the pussy, you're the bitch, you had the most conversation.
I'm
I
gonna.
want
You know,
the.
like-
I'm getting the I
Okay.
win trophy. Every
You're
day.
getting the smallest. Dick
We're gonna
trophy.
call it.
Participation.
How about
We
how
can
about
whip these motherfuckers out. I bet I don't get that
It's-
trophy.
how about the
Hey,
candy shop?
If
But
a
it's gonna
man's
be.
a ruler and a ruler is a
That
foot
candy shop
long,
don't sound
how much of a
it
man
just
are
doesn't
you?
sound. Yeah.
I like
So-
the rooster choke.
8.5.
Half man.
So the deal is,
2/3.
if we're gonna
Man.
La Casa de Toma, the house, the talking house.
I don't like it.
I know, but so here's the deal.
We talk about the wall,
I'm-
and we're gonna name our shit after us.
Regardless of the name of the podcast, I'm
ironic.
setting a hard rule on it right now. If you come on the podcast and you can't leave us friends after, you never return.
That's fair.
That's period. Period.
That's simple. If you can't have a conversation, if
What
you can't
if-
have a debate, that's like a debate.
What
if
if
you
we
cannot
need
have a
to go out
debate?
in the yard and punch each other in the mouth?
If it's that bad,
It
I'll let
should-
you punch me in my mouth.
No, I'm not gonna let you. If you want to go outside with me, fine. But I'm just gonna be like, hey, hit me in the mouth. I'm
I
sorry.
feel like we've seen this game though before.
So,
Been there, done that.
so the biggest.
No, I remember one time I
Tap
wanted
out
to,
or
like,
I'll break
I
it.
remember one time I wanted to have like a sparring match with Matthew, and we were like seniors in high school, and we went up to like Coleman's fucking martial arts,
Oh yeah.
and we were all like squared up, and Matthew's just like
Boom.
right in the fucking nose, and I was like, nope, done,
Jacked out.
done.
I'm just getting
Tap or I'll
Thought
fucking
that's what
break
we
it.
were doing.
So,
I was like, can we just be friends? Like, I just want to be your friend now. I don't want to.
Well, I mean, a spar.
Arm bar.
But he didn't walk away from it like, oh, Matthew's an asshole. We can't be friends anymore. He was just like,
We probably came away from it better.
yeah. He was like, no, I don't want to do that again. But okay, cool.
That wasn't
Like,
wasn't
don't
fun.
punch
Yeah.
me in the nose
I didn't
again.
enjoy that.
But if I need somebody punched in the nose, you're gonna be the person I call.
I'll holler at you, bro. Have a good night.
so as a society, I've mentioned this before, but we're all going to be here with ideas that we differ on. The
Yes,
important
me
is
and
that
you
we,
still differ on
yeah,
shit.
the
and we're close.
The
friends.
important fact is that we can walk away with differing issues and come back next week and talk about it. And that's one of the biggest issues with society today. Is
people can't
People
do
get
that.
butt hurt.
I feel
Oh,
mine
yeah.
mine are right. Well, I look. I tell you, I don't give a fuck if you put 100 people in a room. Everyone's gonna have something different on something, and in the end, we all have to vote on leaders to rule this to lead this country, and we're all civilians at the end of the day that have to vote on the people to do that. We're all gonna differ, But the fact that we can sit down and have civil conversation, I think that's the biggest missing piece in society today.
Even if it gets out of civil, even if I get aggressive towards Dick or he gets aggressive,
There's no
towards
reason
you.
for me to go burn your fucking car.
Well, it's not
I
even
would
that.
hope you
There's
wouldn't
no
go
reason
burn
for
my
me to
fucking
say,
car.
"All right, motherfucker,
I'm way upside
podcast."
down on that thing. Please don't set it on fire.
Well, that's just it. There's no sense in me saying, "All right, you know what? We're shutting it down. Pause this motherfucker, Dick. Let's go outside."
Let's go outside and box.
We're just talking. We're allowed to have a debate.
makes you
I'm not
think.
going to agree with you
Yeah.
every fucking
yeah, I
time.
hope whatever we wind up calling this, that we can all agree that we're all of equal generation. You're about to be 31, right?
31.
31.
March.
I'll be
old
30
fuck.
this year.
30, 30,
We
29.
29.
Yeah.
So
29 in 4 days.
That's,
Oh, you're not even
Is it that
29
close?
yet?
No,
we have
turn-
the same
29
birthday.
on Wednesday.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
29, and I'll be 31 on
What are
Wednesday.
we
You're
gonna
not even
do?
29 yet?
Not yet.
I forgot you were in the
36.
opposite year of us. Yeah,
So-
I'll be 30
Full
this
of
year.
shit.
So
What are
is
we gonna do?
Dad,
Can
how's
we have
that
a
make
Wednesday
you
night-
feel? Old
Can we
as
have a
fuck?
Wednesday night podcast?
Y'all need a Wednesday. We need a Wednesday.
Can we
night.
do it Wednesday night?
Yeah, let's see if
I
you can.
can't. I don't know if I can pull a Wednesday.
You can pull a Wednesday. We'll cut
It's
it off
my
at 10.
Wednesday birth cast. Wednesday birth cast.
Wednesday is our birthday.
I'll try. I will try, but Wednesdays typically is my work till 10
And
o'clock
we're
at somebody
gonna be
else's house.
30 this year.
Well, don't
That's
do
fine.
that.
I'm gonna be 31. Don't fucking talk to
This
me.
is
When you
our-
get my age, you'll
No.
fucking
This
understand.
is our birthday, okay?
That's
You
right.
don't
Like
Two of the
birthdays?
5.
You don't
Yeah.
like birthdays?
We'll get together.
All
We'll
None of y'all
podcast.
faggots
If
have
nothing
shared
else.
It's our
birthdays,
fucking-
so how about...
No, okay. If we do when do you turn? When's your birthday?
August 30th.
Oh, you're August. I'm December.
Yeah,
That's
see,
like
look.
And then Colt's November, right?
he's November 7th. I'm December 10th.
None of y'all...
If we're gonna do like a 30 podcast, I want to get just stupid slammered. Like every
We
every
have a
5
fucking-
minutes, Chase pours me a shot.
When you get my age, you'll fucking understand. Okay, we can't do
All
that.
right, well, I'm not saying we do that
more.
on Wednesday. I'm saying... we
You're only
all come
29.
over.
That's not like a decade.
Yeah, that should be like
we're,
easy
30,
29.
we're 31 over here, motherfuckers.
Bitches, I have
We're
work
31.
on Thursday morning. Like,
I mean,
I'm
I already
just
turned
saying-
29, and I didn't even have a birthday. I was on the
Okay,
pipeline
look-
sucking dick from
let
under.
me-
30. I'm telling you, 30's gonna hit you like a sack of bricks. And
30
nuts.
will hit me like, oh, yesterday was Monday, today's Tuesday. Cool.
Yeah.
Look,
I'm gonna go back to work.
Oh, today's Saturday. Let's work.
Yeah, let's
That's what
go
it's
to
gonna
work
be like.
today.
Yeah. Let me finish a point here. This is the
No,
second. This
Absolutely not.
is so. This is the second official episode of our podcast. Episode 1 still in editing. This is. I want to look at the camera and make the point. Yeah, make the point that look. We all watch the news and we all see just total.
Wait,
dumb
do you watch
shit.
the Clinton News Network?
Look, I only. I don't even have cable. I don't have internet. So the only news that I watch is what I pursue. So,
already called that.
but I want to make the point that
CNN?
if anybody's watching, and I'm sure there's only like 2.5 of you out there right now
7.
that's watching.
I'm
Both-
saying
Yeah.
7.
There's
Both
at
of you
least
guys.
that
one.
little person out there.
Hey, both of you, we love you.
We appreciate
Press,
you.
jackass Preston. out
and my
there.
wife can vouch for me here.
Brittany and Matthew watching this later.
When I watch this on YouTube tomorrow,
so
Hey,
my,
Chase, if you're watching this right now, Brittany's going to suck you off later for it.
fuck yeah. I feel for her because I've got a lot of beer in me. But
try hard.
so my wife can vouch for me on this. Probably about 7 years ago, I brought a African American gay male into our home to
Yeah.
eat dinner and talk. That's the most important
You know
thing
what
for
he
us to
did?
all
the
take.
first
This.
thing he did when this
Have you
guy
done
walked,
that in the past?
I
7
waved a
years?
rebel
he
flag.
had a rebel flag blanket, and when this guy walked in, he was like,
Yeah, waving it. But it was all good humor. I knew the man. The most important thing for us as
we
individuals.
cooked dinner
Look,
for him and we
we're
had dinner
we're
for him,
really the
yeah.
generation that's really controlling the nation to this point, and we can do a lot to influence. I have a 22 or 3-year-old brother. I don't know exactly how old he is, but we do a lot.
little bro.
Yeah.
Garen?
Dylan. I thought
Dylan.
the
I don't know.
motherfucker Cole's like 2.5
My
years
youngest
younger
brother.
than you, dickhead.
You know, we're in the age group where we're really controlling America right now, where our votes speak for the most,
The
and
masses.
Isn't Dylan like a
in
dirty
the next
hippie?
10 years,
He's a
it's gonna
fucking
become
dirty
10
hippie.
million
Yeah.
more so.
you know, he's a fucking dirty hippie. But it's important for us to sit down and have these conversations and not just turn the computer screen off or the internet off when we
Yes.
have the opportunity to discuss these things. Because look, you have completely different opinions than me. We have completely opinions on different things. You work in a completely different field than me, but I respect you as individuals and I appreciate your human life on this earth.
See,
Well,
I
say
thought
what
it
you
was
wanna
really cool
say.
tonight getting their perspective on like no universal health care when they work
Work in
in
the
the
uni-
healthcare
in the
field.
healthcare.
In healthcare,
Because,
especially
like-
Cooter. And Well,
Because
and
in
you
my
too,
mi-
but Cooter had a very.
It sounds good.
Cooter
but
came very
He
strong.
there's-
did a lot
there's
stronger.
He came on very
complications.
strong.
Well,
Yeah,
like
there's
in my mind, if
complications.
I
Yes.
worked in that field, I would think like in my mind today, if they were like tomorrow, like, hey, you can go build a set of rafters this week, and we're gonna pay you $10,000 versus you have to go bid on it, I'd be like, goddamn right, I'm gonna make $5 million or $500,000 this year. Fuck yes.
It's all
Or if they
really.
were- but then, like, if I was saving lives,
Perspective.
they're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, we're gonna pay
Everything's
you
perspective.
like $10,000 this week, no matter how many lives you save versus your whatever dollar."
Yeah,
an
cool.
hour
I'd take
right
that
now."
deal too.
I'd be like, "You're goddamn right. Yes, pay
I've been
me."
hitting people
Yeah.
with my car.
It's just hard. It's hard.
Yeah. I'd be
It's hard
running
because-
people the fuck over.
No.
Yeah.
Dude,
Brittany
I would-
call me
yeah,
like, "Hey,
literally.
we're slow," or "Where are you at?"
They'd be
On
like,
Lamar?
"Hey, we
Clip
gotta
somebody.
hit and run."
Stare at the camera.
All right, so I don't know what we're calling this thing, but we've been going for fucking ever. I wanted to
Candy shop.
to extend a big thank you to Hunter, Brittany, Matthew, myself, Kolt, which does not exist
Colt
anymore.
ain't
and
fucking
Matthew.
here.
He napping. He's
Yes.
napping.
He
didn't
gone.
know.
Oh
He
no,
gone.
Chase
Taking a
didn't finish his
long-ass
beer
piss.
though.
Okay,
Chase didn't finish his beer though.
stop.
Needed a
So
beer.
I hope this is series 2 or this is episode 2 of the initial
Do
series.
have one
I hope that
there.
we are able to have a lot more conversations like this, and let us all start bringing more people into this.
Well, and reiterate, there's no hard feelings across this table.
None at
We've
all.
got heated. We disagree. We firmly disagree on a lot of shit.
I don't know when we
But-
stopped recording, but the issue is a unity.
No, it's not an issue.
yeah.
There's
It's not.
Unity.
it's fine.
Yeah, the deal is unity
We
across
got to
us all,
bring
because
different perspectives.
without unity we can't get anywhere. And
No.
just because us two different opinion and me and her different opinion, we're all going to have something we differ on. And the fact
Absolutely.
is that we all respect each other as human beings, and we can consider each other's opinion and sit down and discuss it over
and
a beer.
talk about it. Just
Absolutely.
even if we walk away with that same difference,
Yeah.
that's fine. We talked about it.
Yeah,
We had
I-
a conversation.
I
Just
hope
because
that.
we have a different view of a little piece of metal doesn't mean.
Yeah,
that
I hope we
can't
can.
Yeah,
I hope
doesn't mean
this
a
is
damn thing.
this can
Yeah.
all be an example of what can come farther, because without cooperation and listening, we're all just going to be in this never-ending circle of
Exactly.
That's what I wanted
And
to
I
be,
hope
because
any-
like I feel like tonight was a really prime example of like we had like strong right over there versus like strong left over here. You know,
Yeah,
like we had
yeah.
a really good dynamic.
yeah,
Tonight
it's
of-
just lots of word, no points.
Storytelling. He
Like I
likes to
said,
tell a
strong
story.
right- like
He's
I
a
said,
storyteller.
strong right over there
Bird,
versus
we have
strong left
right
over
wing,
here.
left wing, we got a little
Amos
ass.
Kolt Thompson likes to
He's
tell a
like the
story.
ass of the
So,
bird.
whatever we wind up calling this, we'll get it figured out tonight, because the batteries are going dead. I'm going to order more batteries, but or actually a power cord so we can just run off power,
There
AC
you
power
go.
all the time.
Just be
But
smart.
I want to
Right
thank
on the
everyone that's sitting at the table and everyone.
Hey, all
and,
three of you.
yeah,
we
Thank
love
you
you.
for watching.
yeah, and I want to thank the one
And
that's
even though-
drunk on the couch.
Even
Sleeping
though
on the
one,
couch.
even though
Yeah.
one
Whoever
of the
he's
three of you, me, that's fine. I love you
Even
too.
high myself there.
Yeah,
You-
Cooter will watch it too.
Hey,
So-
we might have like
thank
6
me for
views.
watching this later.
We may have 6 views on this
Hey,
later,
just
but
remember
we
though,
love
whenever
you.
you do
My
go
wife
watch
said
this on
she was going to
YouTube,
watch it.
You have to
so
watch it all
Oh,
the way
there's
through.
7.
That's
So I'll
extra.
make Mallory watch it.
We're
I'll
gaining.
go,
What's he saying? What's he
We're
saying?
gaining.
Oh, y'all
He's
didn't know
talking.
about that?
What?
So, okay, so to
Your mic's
for-
like at your
if
forehead.
if we put this on YouTube
yeah.
and like don't put this part right here on YouTube because we'll get demonetized. But if this gets put on YouTube, somebody has to watch it from start all the fucking way through to finish.
That's fine. I just hit the bloop bloop.
Yeah,
bloop,
I've-
But you
bloop.
I've
can't
got
do that.
10 seconds at a
You
time.
can't do that.
I've got 3
can't do
channels.
that.
I can watch it on another channel all the way
Well,
through.
yeah, I mean you can do like browsers or
I,
different tabs.
I would
or
love
whatever.
to listen to us talk
But-
the whole
but
time.
you-
I don't
it'll
have
be-
a
it won't
problem
be
with
the
that. I get
whole
bored all the
time,
time.
though.
Yeah.
You
Cole,
can't-
Cole will listen. He don't remember none of
Okay.
this.
Yeah,
Cole
Colt
ain't
don't
got a
remember none
goddamn
of it.
clue what we talked about tonight. I guarantee you.
So, whatever, we don't know what we're calling this. The battery's about to die. We're going to decide what the fuck we're calling this before we all leave here tonight.
Kiss your mic.
I appreciate everyone coming and being the input and all the fuckery that goes on with this thing. I have a lot of respect for the people that sit at this table and hope we can continue.
Lack of or lotto?
A lot of.
lack of.
I got a lack
So-
of respect.
Thanks for everybody sitting down with us and everyone that has inquired on how we can watch this. These will be coming out soon. I've got one in edit right now, so we appreciate the support.
Thank you. We're signing off.
Mwah.